A little late, Coop.
Yeah, we had a flash.
We are tonight's entertainment.
And the world is not prepared.
Somebody's got to pay, Lenny. Somebody always pays.
You sound like you're looking forward to it.
I have great respect for your profession.
Cheers.
A legend.
How'd you like that?
How'd you do it?
Magic. Well, I've seen too much. Well, we'll try and keep up.
Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Mega Mike Rises. Tonight, we have an awesome stream for you all. We are celebrating Christopher Nolan's filmography. So how tonight's stream is going to work is we're going to basically go over all of Christopher Nolan's films, everything he's directed, starting with number 1, working our way all the way up to number 12. So we're going to go through all the films. We're going to roundtable everything. Everybody's going to share their thoughts. Then we're going to give our individual rankings as well, so you can see everybody's, choices and how they would order them. And then we'll give you guys the Collectors Club rankings of just kind of everything mashed together to get basically averages. So kind of like a community list in a sorts for Christopher Nolan. And then we'll have maybe some fun Christopher Nolan questions in there at the end. But yeah, so that's how it's going to work tonight. But of course, we're not only celebrating Christopher Nolan tonight, we also have something else to celebrate. So we also have a birthday boy in the Collectors Club tonight. So we got to have something for Derek here. So make sure you guys get your, if you have any party hats or any.
I do not have that.
You have party hats ready for me.
There we go. There we go. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Derek.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday to you.
That was one of the worst.
Right? Yeah, but we owned it.
That was almost as bad as when I tried to play it on piano for Ken last year.
Hey, that was with a lot of practice too, everybody.
Because we're all slightly out of sync. So
yeah, it's the leg, right?
Did my dog just come in here? Hi.
Yeah, you probably heard.
Yeah, I definitely don't participate in any acapella groups on the weekends or anything like that. So you guys can tell on that. I'll never be a part of a Pitch Perfect movie. So.
This is my birthday present for myself. I didn't get any.
Oh, there you go. Well, anyway, happy birthday, Derek. How do you feel today?
Tired and old because I was at the zoo for 8 hours and it's 90 degrees out.
Oh yeah, that'll do
it. Otherwise, fine.
All right. Well, let's check into the chat, see who is joining us today. We got Craig saying hi, Mike. Hey, Craig. Got Adrian saying hello, Mike. Hello, Adrian. Yep, Derek saying, "Are you ready to Noel?"
Noel.
or Nolan, whatever.
Or Nolan, whatever.
Clearly, he's been drinking.
That's my N on my keyboard that doesn't like to work half the time already.
Derek's already drinking. See, maybe that would have helped with the singing. We should have.
It's 8 o'clock at night for me. I think you're right.
That's right. I got his Long Island iced tea.
Hello, everyone. Speaking about Christopher Nolan, just imagine if Christopher Nolan directing Avengers, The King Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars without using CGI. That'd be pretty.
I'd love to see it just to see how it would possibly be done. I mean, you do the makeup, that would kick ass.
And we got Wilkie's Movies and Music. Hey, gentlemen.
Wilkie.
Hey, Wilkie. And welcome to the channel. I think this might be one of my first time seeing you here. So thanks for being a part of this. And then AJ Roberts. Hey, guys. Is this my first time seeing you as well, AJ Roberts? Well, if so, welcome to the channel.
Now, Derek, what did you get for your birthday? I assume you got some movies. We are movie lovers, so come on.
Oh, no. Yeah. I did
don't
nothing.
Don't say Pepto-Bismol or something like that for your stomach.
Yes, we want to see everything and wrap it all.
I didn't get any.
Unwrap it.
I have no money for movies. I bought $100 and something of the Criterions last week.
Oh, so your wife said you bought your own presents. She says you're good.
That's pretty much what I do. I'm like, I'll probably get a few arrows this week at some point because the arrow sale's on. I want to get Hugo and maybe a couple other ones, but that's all I really want to get this month.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll wait. I can be patient for new stuff.
Does that happen to everybody else or like around Christmas time when you go to the Black Friday and then I just literally give half of them to my wife and say, just hand me these on Christmas? Because there's nothing left at that point for me to get.
Yeah, I just buy them. I'm like, here's my Christmas gift. Thanks.
Well,
And
Yeah.
we
she's
kind of
like,
have
$2 in clothes. I'm like, cool. Merry Christmas.
a tradition that essentially when it hits like the end of November around Thanksgiving, every single thing that comes in the mail just gets wrapped up. So
Nice.
anything
It's a
I
good
buy,
idea.
then I just open it on Christmas.
I should do that
There
this
you go.
year.
So you kind of forget what's coming.
Right, yeah.
I do buy my kid, like, anytime I see a clearance toy at Target or something that I know he wants, I'll grab it and I'll hide it. And then, like, I got X
Save it
amount
for
of
later.
Christmas gifts for you already, or birthday gifts, because his birthday's in November. So, good way to slowly get stuff throughout the year instead of all at once.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and remind everybody to go ahead and backbreak that like and subscribe. If you love Nolan movies, put a smile on the faces of the panel through those super chats, and then travel to those mega memberships for exclusive reviews and perks, or gift them to the community. That's always nice, right? And you'll get to feel that prestige tonight when you do that, of course. Thank you, and definitely intercept the Collectors Club merch on the channel. Was that pretty good, Tim?
You're always so creative with those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like
tonight
those
was a little
covers
tougher.
people,
I'm
so
like,
I don't even use them.
all right. Well, we'll see if it was effective. We'll see if the marketing worked.
I
All
love
right.
the
Well,
use of prestige.
Yeah, good use.
Yeah.
Good way to,
Yeah.
get prestige in there.
build that prestige. Yep. All right. Let's get into our first movie then. And am I good, guys? I'm not lagging, right?
You're good so
Yeah.
far.
All right. So, following 1998, Derek, I know you've seen this one. So what'd you think about it?
A million times. Actually, I've only watched it once. It's a good movie. It's a good first film. It's like 70 minutes long. I don't know if you haven't seen it. It's a black and white, very small movie. Basically about a guy who like learns to be like a criminal to some extent. This is how much I remember about the movie. It's probably been at least a decade since I've watched it. But it's good. This is nothing I would rewatch often. I want to see it again because I'll probably like eventually get the Criterion because it's on Criterion and finally watch it again. But I mean, it's nothing amazing, but it's worth a watch. So I'll put it that way.
I don't know if you sold me on that one yet, Derek.
Yeah.
Can you sell me on this one any better?
I can't sell you. What I will say, what I like about it is I love his use of time in movies, and it's following is his first toying with the idea of time. Like time is a theme across like all his movies, and it starts with following, and I do appreciate that. It's his stepping stones towards what he does later. As a movie itself, I don't really care for it that much. It's okay. The Nolan fanboy in me maybe likes it just a little bit, but I overall, it's not something I'm going to return to.
Yeah.
So
it's worth a watch, but I'll watch it over and over again.
Fair enough. Huck, have you seen this one?
No, that's one I was binging a bunch today, and I saw just the opening of it. But yeah, that's the one I hadn't really seen his filmography. I started with Memento with Nolan, so yeah.
Like
So we'll let the veterans who are not talking it up a good game. I'm not eager to watch it.
I know. I'm not excited to watch
it's hard
it.
when you can't remember anything about it because
It's
Right.
as the title says, he learns what he's doing by following strangers around.
Mhm.
It's not really that captivating. It really isn't.
I
But
still don't even get what's the
Everyone's
story
gonna
about.
start
He's just following people, and what is he learning to do?
it all, I mean, it's
The
not
drink and
it's not particularly story driven. Like there is a story there, but it's not. It's again, it's him learning his idea of toying with time. It has value in that.
Yeah.
So more education.
It's Christopher Nolan practice. That's all. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a practice film.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna watch that
You're not
one.
gonna waste your time watching it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one at all.
Yeah.
No.
It's worth watching, but it's just I don't remember enough about it to be like it's so great. You need to see it right now.
Yeah, I tried to find it too on streaming, and I don't think I could find it anywhere. So
It's probably on Criterion Channel, but that's
Yeah, you
fine.
can probably find it there. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
saying.
all right. Well, let's see. Did anybody comment on following here? Yeah, I know. I almost said the following to make it sound
Yeah,
cooler.
following, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is the one title people hear and go, I have no idea what movie you're talking about. Like there's always one buried in someone's filmography, like no one has heard of or talks about.
Because it's that little indie flick, though.
Yeah,
everyone does start at Memento. Memento is his first for a studio movie, even though that's still small.
Yeah,
it's still a studio movie.
It was widely released, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiana loves movies. Says happy birthday, Derek.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hisham says Memento equals the Mind Stone. The Prestige equals the Soul Stone. The Dark Knight trilogy equals the Power Stone. Inception equals Reality Stone. Interstellar, Space Stone, Tenet, Time Stone, Oppenheimer, Infinity Gauntlet. Well, there you go.
That's an apt description, surprisingly.
This whole time he's been practicing for an Avengers movie. That's what.
Right?
I'm not seeing Dunkirk in there.
Dunkirk is
Dunkirk's the Gauntlet. It's just
second.
All right.
This is the watch he wears on the Infinity Gauntlet.
The watch.
Because it's always ticking away like the score.
So only Derek and I had input on following then.
Yep.
I want to see someone who's their favorite movie, and I want to know why. That's what I want. I want someone whose favorite Nolan movie is the following. The Following sucks. That's a real movie too, right? It's not a movie.
Yeah.
I tried to find a lot of these movies streaming, but they just weren't available.
No, I had to pay for most of the ones. I didn't own. Which is
they
fine.
need to do a Nolan booklet collection like they did for Spielberg. Do all like Nolan films.
Well, they have that.
There's a box set. Let me.
Isn't it overseas though, or is it?
Is it
US?
This is for anybody who hasn't seen Dunkirk. It is on Netflix for
see, that's an overseas release. Tim.
No, I bought this on US Amazon. I bought it on our Amazon.
But what's that little on the corner there?
It's region free. It doesn't matter. It's on.
I can't do it, Tim. The corner. It's too much.
Corner.
Are you serious?
I can't do it. I can't do it.
You being serious?
What's wrong with you?
If it was half the price, maybe. But
it was. That's why you bought it.
I spent like $45 on this.
Was it really? Okay, I'd get it for $45.
Yeah, because the American version's like ridiculously expensive. It's the same box set. And then that was like $37.99 or something like that.
It was insanely cheap.
Yeah.
Look at Tim.
I tell you, that's sticker.
I'm glad he bought it because he sent me all his old ones.
Much though, that's the thing. I mean,
Tim's a sweetheart and sent me all the other ones extra ones he didn't need anymore. So I got 4Ks from him.
So Tim, I forgot to count. Is that everything up until Oppenheimer in that set?
No, it's like
that's only like 6 of his, right?
It's everything through
all
Dark Knight.
3 Batmans: Inception, Prestige, Interstellar.
Okay, so no Memento or following.
It's all his WB movies.
Oh, and Dunkirk is in here too. So we've got seven of his 12 are in here.
Yeah, it's all his Warner Brother movies.
That's not bad. That's a good box.
Yeah,
except for Mike, with that sticker. I get it though. Those stickers, man, they're weird looking.
Oh, come on!
I mean, they are stupid, but I would not buy it for that.
I mean, yeah. I'm glad it's. Do they also come with Blu-rays, or it's just a strictly 4K set?
Let me open. I don't remember.
And
yeah, because if the Blu-rays are in there, then I would think those would be region locked.
No, Blu-ray also.
Now, but those are probably region 2, right?
They would probably be region locked. But if you're buying the 4K set, you have a 4K player, so what the hell you care?
But what if I want to watch the special features? Usually they put those on the Blu-rays.
Yeah,
I might.
Then
I like to really dive into the movies, okay?
That region. If you watch Tim's channel, he does talk about a really good region-free player. And one day when I'm ready, I'm getting Tim's.
I know.
Because it sounds good.
I do need a region-free Blu-ray player, actually.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the money you spend on movies. You make a one-time commitment to just buy a player.
Oh yeah, I should get it for my new office here.
Then you get that rabbit hole of, ooh, that's an overseas release. I'll get that.
I know that's what happened.
There's times though, like say this, it was way out of print and expensive here, significantly cheaper over there. Some movies are just cheaper even to import.
It was insanely cheap. Yeah, it was like $37.99 or something like that.
Yep.
All right, you sold me on it, Tim. If I see it again, I'm
Did he
going for
really?
I do need the Prestige, actually. What
It's
else?
7 movies for.
I have the
$40
Batman movies on 4K. I have Interstellar on 4K.
But Prestige is out here though, right?
It's released here. It's just you don't run across. It was out of print for a little while, or pretty rare, but
It was gone for a while. Then it came back like a year ago. All of a sudden,
Yeah. So you can find
actually on sale for like $17.99 like last week.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next one. Memento. Yes. Now, Huck, you watched this one, right? You said you started with it.
Yes,
today,
I have
or
seen that. That was the first one, and honestly, when I first saw it, it was quite fascinating. Like when I left it, I just talked about it a lot. I'm like, wow, that some of it was a little confusing because you're jumping around time, but as it bakes in, and it all coalesces to the end, you're like, and you're piecing it all together, just like he would be piecing it all together. It was just highly fascinating, and I loved Guy Pearce's performance. I'd never heard of Guy Pearce before either.
Oh, he's great. Yeah,
That was my introduction to him as well, and just the fact that he had to, he would remind him by doing the tats, and it's sort of like it's almost like Groundhog Day, but with leaving yourself notes, instead of just remembering them.
And he
I
write
enjoyed
down the notes on a paper or something. He had to do the tattoos.
Yeah, because he could lose it, or they could
yeah. You lose a note,
get stolen, burned.
There's like a whole scene where he can't find his pen, and it's like a thing.
There you go.
So yeah, I would say if you haven't seen, and we briefly talked about this before we came on, that there's the cut is, and I don't know, Tim, is it on there where they put it in chronological order without the jumping around? I think that would, I don't know, take some of the charm out of the movie.
Yeah,
if
it's
I
on the
watched it that
DVD.
way.
I don't know if it's on here. I haven't watched it in so long.
To me, it feels like a gimmick way to watch it. I would probably watch it because I've already seen the movie. But
yeah.
I don't know if that would never be a preferable way. Like, it's just like it's a gimmick, really.
Yeah, it's worth watching it once. Just I was just impressed that it was still good watching it that way, because it's like
Was
such
it?
a well-made movie that it's still good watching in chronological order because the story's interesting.
Yeah.
So it still plays fine that way.
Yeah, it's still an interesting movie. It just
Okay,
doesn't have like a hook, As long as you've seen it before, obviously, don't watch it that way the first time. It's completely defeats the purpose.
And
like
the performance by I'm blanking on the actor's name, but he was the captain in Bad Boys. What's his name?
Oh,
Joe Pantoliano.
Yes. So I was blanking on his name.
Yes, because I know he's in Memento.
Yes,
Joey Pants. Yeah,
he was really good in that too.
Mm-hmm. He's like he's a cop who's like kind of trying to help him and stuff.
Joey Pants. Yeah.
And we got Carrie Ann Moss. Stephen Tobolowsky is in it. He's good.
So we have 2 Matrix people in there. Wow.
Yeah. Memento is really freaking good. Again, I love his toying with time. It's one of the things I love most about Nolan. In that movie, you're watching it for half the movie, and I'm not quite grasping this yet. And then it starts coming together, and it's like perfect. It's so freaking good. So his toying around with time makes that movie pay off so well by the end. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
like
you were saying it was
you
awesome.
said, you learn what's happening exactly how he's learning how it's happening. So it's like the perfect kind of movie that gets you into the character's head and like his perspective. You're not just like watching a story happen. You're learning with him to solve this mystery. Essentially, he's trying to solve his wife's murder, who killed his wife or whatever, and get revenge is what happens. And you're learning with him what happens, and then you find out. I don't spoil it if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I remember I saw this in theaters when it came out because I was working at the movie theater.
Yeah,
working with him. He's like, you got to see it. It's just this little movie that no one knew what the hell it was when it showed up in early 2001 or whatever it was. It was like March or February 2001 or something like that. It came into the theater on one screen and no one had heard of it. And one guy I worked with was like, "You got to watch it. It's amazing." We're like, "Okay." Like, I'll trust you. All right, I don't have to pay for it. I work here. And yeah, it was like easily one of the best movies I saw that year by far. And I've watched it, I don't know how many times since. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I probably watched it well over a dozen times.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy to think, though, the trajectory movies can take you into, because Memento did so well and executives loved it so much. That's what got him the role for Insomnia, directing a major budget movie with huge stars in it.
Yeah.
And then Insomnia is what got him Batman Begins. So it's like all of that is owed by how damn good Memento is.
Yeah. And also, it was his first Oscar nomination for original screenplay for Memento, which is probably the closest he actually got to winning one, because it probably is like his most uniquely written script that he was nominated for.
I think he's got a
And
good
editing
shot.
too, I remember.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen the trailer, but the trailer did intrigue me, so I am curious to check it out. I've just always been afraid of the movie because I'm like the time jumping, and I heard it doesn't even end at the end, correct? Doesn't it end like in the middle, something like that?
No.
Yeah, that's gonna drive me nuts. But
I don't want to be a downer, but if one of your least favorite things about Nolan is his playing with time, Memento is not probably going to click with you. Just being honest, I don't think it will. It's not a straightforward structure like something like Batman or Interstellar or something. It's
like crazy jumpy though, because it's like pretty much all you need to know going into it. It's almost like Oppenheimer. All the black and white movies, like in Oppenheimer, his black and white scenes are like objective scenes, and all the color scenes are like Oppenheimer's point of view scenes.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing with Memento, except for the black and white segments are happening chronologically, and the colored scenes are basically happening from his perspective. So
he has his gimmicks. Yeah.
But it's not super hard to follow or anything. Like, it is hard to follow at first, and then when you realize what's happening, then you see what happens. It's like, oh, holy shit! And then if you watch it again, it makes a lot of sense, and it's still awesome.
I find that with most of the Nolan films, I'm all like, I always have to rewatch them multiple times. Yeah. But they get better when I rewatch them, so that's a good thing.
Memento's great. Yeah, you should watch Following, and you'll be like, oh, that was okay, and then watch Memento, and it'll be amazing.
There you go.
This kid's got something.
Let's see. Hisham is saying, is Oppenheimer really censored in movie theaters? I don't think it was censored at mine.
Like overseas, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, certain areas.
I mean, with all the
Florence Pugh.
Yeah. They covered up for Florence Pugh.
I saw so many Florence Pugh movies. There's no way it's
Florence Pugh.
Movies with Ryan says, just got here. Did Derek just call everybody stupid? Did you call everybody stupid, Derek? I don't remember. I didn't hear that.
If you don't understand Memento, you're stupid.
Wow. Oh, no.
Tiana says, I'll have to check our Memento. Yes.
Yes, it's fantastic. And the Blu-ray is probably like $5. So
it's super cheap.
All right, so next up, we are on to Insomnia. Yay, a movie I've seen. This is good.
Well, why don't you start?
Okay, yes. So if you told me that like I didn't know who directed this movie, I wouldn't have guessed Christopher Nolan. It plays just like a straight up movie. It makes perfect sense. It's a detective story. Robin Williams gives an amazing performance in the movie. I mean, he's terrifying in the movie. And then you have Al Pacino, who's really good in the movie. And I guess what they kind of play around with the lighting of the movie, right? Because it takes place in Alaska, and then that's
it's like
insomnia stuff.
Daylight all the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it trips him out on the sleeping, and because he's not sleeping well, he feels like he starts seeing stuff. Is that correct? I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but so I like that idea of a movie. I like it being a thriller. So it's an entertaining movie. No problems with it. Didn't confuse me at all. So yeah, so when I found out it was a Nolan movie, I was pretty shocked. I'm like, Nolan did this? Doesn't seem much like a Nolan movie, but it worked out good because I really liked the movie. So
yeah, that's probably because it's not really his per se.
It's the least Nolan movie out of all his movies.
Yeah,
because he didn't write it. That's the thing.
Did anyone?
He wrote every other movie he made, I think, except for that one.
Did anyone here watch the original?
I haven't. I want to really bad.
No.
Is he selling Skarsgård in it?
So it actually. It follows the original pretty well. Like if you watch the original, which is on Criterion, it follows it a lot. So like he followed the structure pretty close. The original, Pacino's character, which is Skarsgård character, is way more slimy and leaves you with a feeling at the end that Pacino's tries to make him a little bit better. So I think I kind of like the original a little bit more than Nolan's remake, but I really do like Nolan's remake. Like Hilary Swank is great in it. I really liked her.
The girl was. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really well done. It's just you need to see the original to compare to. 'Cause the original would make you kind of ugh.
Yeah.
He's such a creepy, disgusting character in the original one. They didn't quite give Pacino that depth.
The scumminess.
It does
Yeah.
sound better. I remember not being like super into the remake. I haven't seen the original, but it's a good movie from what I remember. It's been probably at least as long as since I've seen the following since I watched it, honestly. But I saw it in theaters when it came out, then I saw it probably several years later. But yeah, it's like to me it was just like it's a thriller, but it didn't have. It's a well-made movie that doesn't have like the Nolan touch. That's why it doesn't feel like a Christopher Nolan movie, like we were saying, because it's the only one of his movies I think that he did not have a hand in writing, and it shows.
Yeah, he had no hand in anything besides just hopping in and
Yeah, it was a director for hire job just to help get his name out there. It seems like more than anything. But it's a solid movie by far, for sure. And
Robin
Williams is always a winner.
Yeah, Robin Williams was really good in his minimal screen time. I mean, he's really good at playing that like menacing villain type character.
Mm-hmm.
He was great. Like I said, Hilary Swank. I think Pacino was actually the weakest part, and Pacino is a great actor, but I think he was actually the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah, I never liked him that much in the movie. I didn't like Al Pacino that much back then.
It's strange when you said that, Tim. I didn't realize they're only 5 years apart. Why are we remaking a movie that's from '97?
Because
it's a foreign language film, right?
Yeah,
the 97.
that's just it. Remaking it for an American audience.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. Because I just looked at the years on it.
Yeah, because Skarsgård, where is he from?
That makes sense.
It's Norwegian.
Yeah, it's Norwegian. That's right.
Gotcha. And and Robin was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I love when Robin sort of goes against type and pulls that kind of stuff off. But yeah, I mean, this one it didn't. I mean, it doesn't blow me away. It's not like I was like, oh, wow, can't wait to own that. It was just like, in fact, like you said, I didn't realize it was a Nolan movie when I saw it. Also, back then, I didn't really know who Nolan was yet anyway.
Yeah.
But because to me, Memento was a cool movie, wasn't a Nolan movie. Things don't become a so-and-so's movie until they become so-and-so, right? And I think Nolan kind of like once he started to become a name, then I was like, oh, that's the guy who did Memento. So yeah, that's about all I have on Insomnia.
Yeah.
Other than what you guys said.
I do want to watch
it's an easy to follow movie though. So if people are just getting into Nolan movies, I think it's a good one to start with. Yeah. If you like police procedural kind of movies.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me like Silence of the Lambs vibes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, a little
That's
bit.
what I was gonna say too with Hilary Swank. I'm like, I always got the vibe of a Clarice Starling thing.
Just be Clarice.
Let's see. We got Kal-El Daly joining us. Cool panel. Those guys look familiar. I know you haven't seen us Collector Club members in so long. It must have been like years.
It's like there's a theme to it or something. As if there were a marathon going on.
Yeah, 4K King says, I need to see Insomnia. Robin Williams, right? Yep.
Yeah,
very good at that movie.
If you watch it, though, Robin Williams' screen time is not a whole lot, so don't go in as a Robin Williams movie.
Yeah, I wonder, you probably hear his voice more on the phone, right?
Yeah, they don't unveil him actually seeing him until, close to midway, maybe?
Oh,
really?
It's like the midway point of the movie, you finally see who it all is, probably, yeah.
And he's all over the trailer, so it feels like he's in the whole thing. Who has more screen time, you think, Robin Williams or Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs? Because he only had less than 20 minutes, I think, of screen time.
Yeah, but he's cooler, and he's in your head the whole time. He's in your head the whole movie, regardless. That's how you win an Oscar for a supporting role in a lead category. Got to be in their head the whole time.
Scottish Geek guys, howdy, folks.
Scottish, ooh, I like
that. Yeah, the remake on English, like Solaris, Vanilla Sky, and The Departed. See, I didn't know Vanilla Sky was a remake, and I didn't know. Yeah. Well, I haven't even seen Solaris, so.
Solaris is weird. The original is also on Criterion. All these originals on Criterion. That movie. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Legit. Never mind. But yeah, Solaris is also on Criterion.
Speaking of a movie that needs to go to Criterion, Batman Begins was up next. So, all right. Derek, I think this was your favorite out of the Batman movies, right?
Oddly
One
enough,
of
it is.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I I probably like it as much as The Dark Knight, to be honest. But I like to give it props because not enough people do. It's like if you didn't have how awesome this movie was, it's like the perfect Batman origin story movie. We wouldn't have The Dark Knight, and you're welcome. What was I saying?
You're welcome.
But I saw this movie 3 times in theaters. I think we were talking about this in War of the Worlds the other day, and I saw both of them 3 times in theaters. They came out like the same week. I love it. Yeah, it's like it's not perfect. It's not like the best movie ever, but it's like it's a little more comic book movie than the sequel was. The sequel was just mostly like a thriller movie set in Gotham City. So I appreciate the slightly more fantastical nature of it. I love Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow so much. The visions he gives people when he gasses them, I love. But the best part is when Batman gasses himself with it, and you see how afraid Scarecrow is of Batman, and like the image they give you for that, like the minuscule CGI that Christopher Nolan's known for now more than ever, is so effective in this movie. The score is amazing. It's my favorite score out of all 3 Batman movies, probably. I mean, because most of it comes from this movie, so why not? Yeah, I can say more about it, but it's just a solid Batman movie. If you want to watch a Batman origin story movie, this is really the only one we have. That's a live action movie, and it's about as perfect as you can get. And it does play with time a little bit, like the Nolan likes to do, but not to the extent where it's like confusing. It's just like, oh, here he is as a kid, and now he's younger, and here's in training, and get you through the gist. Yeah, and Liam Neeson as, spoiler alert, Raj Al Ghul. Mwah, chef's kiss. I loved it.
Yeah, so Neeson is my favorite part about it. He was really freaking good in that movie. I don't love it. I don't love it, but I think it is a very solid. You said solid. Solid sounds like a good way I would describe it. I've watched it twice. It's not one I want to return too much, but it is very solid. I'm not huge into origin stories in general. I wish more superhero movies kind of just started right when they're superhero. Too many times we need to see the damn origin over and over. Like even though we didn't get Batman's origin as much, I guess, on screen, everyone knows his origin. Like I
know it,
I'm sick of origin stories. I really am.
Like we never need to see how Superman came to Earth ever again.
No,
ever.
Yeah. Or Spider-Man, how it gets fit. That's why the Homecoming did that right. For sure.
Smallville was 10 years of Clark becoming Superman. If you need any more than 10 years of a show, there you go.
Right. Yeah. That's why, if it was like a retread origin story, which luckily it wasn't, it would have been annoying. But also it doesn't just show his parents got killed and he saw it happen. It shows like all the cool, intense, like samurai training stuff that you do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had that in the Tim Burton origin story movie, probably. So even if they had done it that way, it still would have been a completely different style of movie, I think.
Yeah, the look and style of it was really nice, though. It's funny because, to be honest, I didn't know that movie was coming out. Somehow I missed the hype of Batman Begins. I was kind of aware of it. It wasn't something I was like, what is this? Batman Begins? Really? Like, I guess also being a Superman fan, I was like, where's my Superman movie, right? We're getting all these Batmans. And then Batman went away because of the bad taste of Batman and Robin. And so you figured the next thing to come back out would have been a Superman movie because Batman already had that taint on it. But yeah, I was really surprised. And look, I'm cool with what's her name? The girlfriend. That's not.
Yeah. Kate,
Kate,
whatever. Right?
Kate.
I can't think of her last name. Kate. Tom
Cruise's ex. Yeah. I blanking on her name, but I enjoyed her. I did not think she was as
Katie
bad.
Holmes.
Katie Holmes. Thanks, buddy.
She's probably the least. I don't know. She's fine.
She's fine though, but she's definitely not as bad as people say. No. She's charming, and that's what she needed to be. But and I think Christian did a great job bringing the Dark Knight to a different feel than the Tim Burton stuff, which I still love. I still love that sort of fantasy element of Burton stuff. You know what I mean? Like that sort of hyper real comic book look. And when people start to get too real, I guess if you're going to get real, Batman's the one you're going to do it with.
Right, exactly.
But I also want some of that comic booky goodness, and I do think the first one with Scarecrow gives you a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about it. Yeah, I also forgot to say Tom Wilkinson is amazing in this as Falcone. For how little he is in it, he's so good.
Yeah, I remember seeing this one when I was a kid, and it irritated me. I was used to the Batman and Robin stuff. I'm like, that stuff was awesome. It was so fantastical. And then I'm like, what is going on here? The time jumping did confuse me at first. So I'm like, wait, what's happening now? And then the origin part is so drawn out. Like, it makes the movie feel way longer. I felt they could have trimmed that down just a little bit. And then Scarecrow disappointed me. Not because of the actor, Cillian Murphy's great, but I'm like, really? They just put a potato bag on his head? Like, where's the Scarecrow? Give me a Scarecrow costume or something.
Yeah,
I'm used to animated show.
Gotta be a little realistic in that universe.
I mean,
They should've given
you
him
could have
a
done
big,
more than a
fingers.
bag. Like,
That would've
literally,
been
it was
cool.
like, here's a bag. Like, there you
it
go.
sort of looked like Jason Voorhees' bag from Part 2. You know, with the
With a
eye
gas
cut out.
mask built into it. Yeah, they should have given syringe fingers. I think that would have been cool. That he has like in later things, like in the games.
Something. They could have done something, added something to that costume. Now I love the movie, but just when I saw it, some things irritated me. And he totally does kill Ra's al Ghul. I don't care what he says when he gives his speech where he's like, I don't have to save you, though. Blah, blah. You killed him. Come on, you're a superhero. You should have saved him, but whatever. And what do you mean? Like, you told Commissioner Gordon to shoot down the bridge, so you're all part of that plot plan. You knew who was going to die. But Commissioner Gordon's great in the movie. That's an awesome part. So
Gary Oldman is amazing as always.
The tumbler's amazing, flying on rooftops. It's like a big giant tank. That was super cool.
That was a cool car. I wasn't expecting
it. Was real. That's what
I think that was the other thing in the trailer I looked at and went, what the hell is that thing? I thought, of all the cool looking Batmobiles, it just looked like, a black painted military vehicle.
Yeah. I hated it until I saw the movie and I was like, okay, this is cool.
Exactly. Yeah. You had to see it in action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, within the context of his movie, though, it makes sense that a lot of his stuff is like secret military stuff he purchased. Like it works instead of like the Batman '89 Batmobile is awesome, but it's kind of impractical looking.
Very.
The tank thing's cool.
Yeah, I like the stuff with Fox. That all made sense with like the science division of Wayne Enterprises, so that worked. Michael Caine as Alfred, that was really cool. So the casting was perfection there, and I think Christian Bale did a pretty good job. I know some people make fun of the Batman disguising voice, but I mean, it makes sense for the movie. He has to disguise it somehow.
It's funny sometimes. Where the truck's going? That's my favorite part.
So
it makes for fun moments, though.
Bale's Batman is one of my least favorite as a whole. Like, so the voice thing does bug me because the concept that all you have to do is use like a voice changer and instead I'm talking like this. I hate it. I hate it so much. Like I really
the voice changer.
I cannot. I don't like his Batman really. Like everything about Nolan's Batman movies I do like is about everything else that's going on. Bale as at no point the strong point in any of the movies. I think he's the weakest point in all of them. I don't think he's the best Bruce Wayne. I don't think he's the best Batman. I think he fails at both aspects.
I like that he's very different doing both, though. At least, like he's one of the better performances that actually makes them two different characters. Like how Christopher Reeve is the best at making color.
There you go. Thank you, Derek.
Because like when I watch what's his name, Henry Cavill, I'm like, oh look, it's Superman with glasses for 5 minutes.
Cavill has no split between.
but I understand. I was playing with Mario toys like 5 minutes ago with my kid before I jumped on. And
why not?
I just screw with them, and I do this voice when I'm playing with whatever I'm doing. I do the.
There you go. He made a memorable character.
Just to screw with him, and he hates it.
Yeah, so to me, I think the villains were the weakest part for me on that, just because they weren't as fantastical as I wanted, and I wanted more by the end of it. So they kind of just got taken out pretty easily, like Scarecrow just shot in the face with the taser.
You can't kill them all, at least. At least he came back in each movie, so that was good.
Yeah, that's true. That part's cool. All right, so now we are on to the comments. Let's see what everybody says about Batman Begins here. What? Physical for posterity says, yeah, boy. Okay. All right. Wilkie's Movies and Music. Yeah, saying hello. Let's see. Hisham says, I'm watching Batman Begins in 2009 when I was a 15 on national TV, and this movie was outstanding. Yeah, it's a good movie, Hisham. I agree.
There you go.
It's a good one. All right, now we're on to the next movie. It's not as good as The Illusionist that came out the same year, but it's okay. Let's go to it. Got The Prestige. All right. Who loves The Prestige here?
Yeah, I actually just rewatched Prestige like last week, and it's a solid movie. Like, it's good, with some fascinating elements. It's funny because Hugh seems like he's supposed to be the likable guy in the film, but he kind of ends up not really being the likable guy. You kind of end up rooting for Bale at the end. And it's kind of heartbreaking what happens to Bale. Nice little, if you haven't seen it, we'll give you the twist, but there's a really nice twist. Even like it had been so long since I'd seen it, I forgot how they revealed the twist. I couldn't remember how it was revealed. And it's literally not until almost the last 10 minutes of the film. I'm like, oh, okay, right. That's that. There it is. Because I thought it was much earlier in the film. I thought we knew about it much earlier, so you could see what the deal was, but it's actually not. And I just love David Bowie's in it, so I get a kick out.
Yeah, he's great. And Andy Serkis. Yeah,
anything he's in. Yeah, Andy Serkis. That whole element there, and the shocking thing about the clones, always being offed, to make sure that he's the only one. Yeah, it's some shocking stuff in that film. But I liked it. It was a solid enough film.
All right, Tim, what do you think?
I put it's a towards the top one for me for Nolan.
Yeah.
I think it's freaking great. That is where Bale shines. Bale shines.
Yeah, there you go.
Prestige.
Yeah,
that's his best. Yeah, that's like my favorite performance of it, almost like out of everything.
And what you said about Hugh Jackman, yes, I like though how his character goes down a dark path.
Exactly.
Like I like his character development a lot. The movie keeps me engaged the whole time, and even though I know the twist, it still doesn't mean it's not awesome each time it comes up. And as you said, Bowie as Tesla is awesome.
So good.
It's such a blast. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times now, and it's great each time. So yeah, it's one of my favorites of his.
All right, Derek, what do you think?
Oh, and the score is great, by the way, too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it was a good score.
Used that score when I promoted this like an hour or two ago. Pretty much all of his movies have great scores. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Off the bat. Pretty much all of his movies, all of his studio movies have amazing scores. Prestige is, we'll find out later. It's my favorite movie of his, at least at the moment, and it has been for years. It's the last movie he made before I say he got too big for his britches, Christopher Nolan. Because it seems like this movie isn't some huge studio event movie. Like everything he did after this was. This was just like, oh, here's this amazing movie that Christopher Nolan made, and it's one of, if not my favorite, Christian Bale performance. Hugh Jackman's amazing because he's the hero who ends up being the villain very, very slowly and cleverly.
Yeah.
There's amazing actresses in it that we haven't mentioned. Rebecca Hall, who's always great.
Yep.
And ScarJo is in it as well.
Yeah.
I have Michael Caine in it. We're gonna have a Christopher Nolan movie. He wasn't in Oppenheimer. It scared me for a minute. I was gonna call him and see if he's okay. I don't know Michael Caine, but yeah, Prestige is amazing, and it has a double twist, which makes it so sexy at the end. I don't want to spoil too many things, but you've all said enough about how great it is, and yeah. But this is and has been my favorite Christopher Nolan movie for a good decade now or more.
And the 2-finger thing, that was amazing.
Oh yeah,
Oh, how
it's
that
bleeding again. Brilliant.
Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch this one. I only saw it once when I was younger. I remember it being a little bit slower than I would have liked for a movie, but I like magic movies, so it was interesting enough. The twist by the end does bring it all together. But I never thought Hugh Jackman was the villain, so now I need to go back and rewatch it.
Oh, dude, he goes down a dark path.
He's very much so the villain.
I don't remember that. I'm just like, I remember the other guy who, did the thing with the fingers. I'm like, that wasn't very nice,
Yeah.
But
You gotta do it. You gotta do it for the act, bro.
I know that's a dedication right there. But the magic tricks were cool. Yeah,
I like the look of the film too. It was all sort of like not popping with colors, all kind of muted tones and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just sort of gave it that sort of vintage feel.
Oh,
yeah, it was very naturally lit. Yeah.
Yeah, costume design and set design on point also.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And they both got nominated at the Oscars. Who'd have thought?
Nice.
The only two things I got were art direction and cinematography.
All right. next up, we got The Dark Knight, which I think we were hoping to get more Oscar love out there. Yes.
What, 8 wasn't enough?
Well, this is the reason the Oscar
Yeah.
bumped everything up to 10
Yep.
because
This
this was
Wall-E,
left out and people were hacked off that, this movie rewrote the game and didn't
Right.
get
It is pretty bad when you look at the nominees and you're like, really?
a lot of the same old. But Heath Ledger, probably I think this is what Mike you're probably were hoping for in the first movie, a really good villain like the Joker. But you know what? I'm glad they saved him for this one because I don't think the Joker, if that was the person in the first movie, not as good. But I think just for the plot line in the second one, God, it was just so that opening scene with the school buses and all that. I'm just like, what is this movie? This is like so wicked. And I love when people hate on castings until they see it. Michael Keaton is Batman. Boo, he's nice.
Yeah.
This guy, Mike. I just tell everybody, calm down. Just wait. There's a reason that person's been picked, and until they give you a reason to dislike them, wait. And there was nothing to dislike. I loved his performance as the Joker.
Oh,
And this is loving Nicholson as the Joker. I thought him hamming it up as Joker was great. So this was a different take, and you got the Tomler that turned into the
the Bat Pod.
The Bat Pod.
Yeah,
that was so
yeah, that
cool.
was a cool sequence too because you didn't know it was coming the first time you see the movie. It's like, oh, what? That makes so much sense that he would have that.
Yeah.
I love how it's like the back tire and the front tire, and they go like shit,
Yeah.
That was like Andy's end. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
So Derek, you're a Dark Knight fan then?
I am. That's. Like I said, I like it just as much as Batman Begins. I probably liked it more at a time, like right when it came out. But the more I see both, and the longer time passes, more of my. If Heath Ledger wasn't in that, it probably wouldn't be as good thing happens in my brain. Where if you take his performance out of it, I'm like, is it as good as everyone thinks it is? And it is great, but he makes the movie.
But I mean, he is in it.
What it is. Like, he is the movie. If you take him out of the movie, it doesn't have much. Like, Batman Begins had more unique things about it that I like. This movie just like, oh, it's a pretty good crime movie with an amazing Joker performance in it. You take that out, and it's just a pretty good crime movie. But I love Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face. Was fantastic. I like that they built him up well. Like, his whole 3-act thing worked well, even though they got rid of him at the end. He had his full story, so it was fine. You get Cillian Murphy back for like a second, but it's like, hey, good, Cillian Murphy back. Yeah, it's great. And yeah, it was nominated for 8 Oscars. Not anything above the line besides Heath Ledger, which won. And then I think the only other thing it won was sound editing over Slumdog Millionaire, which was the only thing Slumdog Millionaire did not win that year. So, but yeah, it should have been nominated for Best Picture. So should have Wall-E. Those were the 2 movies that broke the camel's back on that one. But it's too bad that didn't happen. But at least Heath got his, and he's the best part of the movie, so it works.
By far, yeah. So this is my favorite of the Batman movies. And, I already said what I think about Bale's Batman. But luckily, Heath Ledger's Joker is so prominent throughout this entire movie that I love it. His amazing performance keeps you engaged the whole time. If this was like a Jaws situation where the villain is, very minimal in it, and it was all relying on Batman, I wouldn't have cared near as much. Yeah. But because that amazing performance is from start to finish in this entire movie, it's fantastic. It is leaps and bounds to me the best Batman. The cinematography is outstanding. Score is outstanding.
Score is great. Yeah.
All the side characters are great. Like he's mentioned, Aaron Eckhart, great. Everything is on point besides Bale's Batman. That's about it.
Even all the little backstory elements of the Joker when he's like telling them about the smile. Like he's just telling that to freak somebody out, but in the same breath, he's giving you backstory, and that was brilliant. It's enough to make you feel for him. And that was another thing too. Is as insane as he was, you got where he was coming from, which is kind of creepy.
Why so serious?
Exactly.
And I
Mike's
do
been waiting all night for that.
And I did like I like Maggie Gyllenhaal. I always like Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
So.
It's good.
See,
a
I
good
was
actress.
not a fan of the casting replacement there. Like Maggie Gyllenhaal just wasn't working for me. I would have taken Katie Holmes over that.
You were hoping for Jake? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal, I would have taken him in the movie as some other villain.
As-
Why not?
Like
But
I
yeah,
thought
that
Maggie,
movie.
yeah,
Oh
I thought
yeah, go
Maggie,
for it.
yeah. I was just saying, I agree with you. Like I feel like Maggie was the better actress, but visually, being who Bale is and the billionaire, like his, I don't want to profile, but he would be with someone that looks more like.
Yeah,
Oh,
like when the Joker says, "Oh, you are beautiful," you're like, you're like,
Just because she's not as pretty as her brother doesn't mean you have
Her
to be
brother's
okay.
pretty.
I don't think Maggie Gyllenhaal's that bad looking. But
No, she's not at all.
No, I didn't say that. Yeah. You're downgrading my comment.
She's just not as pretty as Jake Gyllenhaal. That's all I said.
Yeah, but that movie is great. That's my second favorite movie of all time, so I rewatch it every year. Like you guys said, I mean, I second everything you say. It's perfect everywhere. All the cast is great. Great villains. I do wish we would have gotten more Two-Face in the long run, though. That was kind of sad that they took him out at the end, but
Yeah, it's like he gets a
I
full
would like
arc,
to
but it's
see
like,
him
I
more,
would have liked
yeah.
to see more of him.
Yeah.
So,
a little bit more coin flipping in there. He got a little bit in it, but I want to see more.
at least
But yeah,
that made
the
it make sense.
visuals are great. But I will say with his look too, it was a little too overdone. Like you could see his mouth, and I'm like, I don't think he would be alive at that point. Like just like
You would have preferred
you know,
medium rare Two-Face?
yeah, just a little bit of char on there, but not seeing like the mouth hanging out where he's like zombified. I'm like,
Great.
He looked
makeup
like
and
Emotep
CGI.
from The Mummy.
Yeah.
Right when he
It looked
eats the bug.
yeah. Yeah, but everything else in that movie was great. You're right. It's a crime drama, but it's a really good crime drama. So it works. And it has a superhero aesthetic perfectly.
It's like what Winter Soldier was to the original Captain America movie. It's like exactly the same comparison, except they're both, a little better, I would say.
Yeah. All right. Let's see in our comments here. Oh, we got Caveman Movies and more. Hey, gang. Let's see. I miss Liam Neeson not being in The Dark Knight. The pencil scene that was a great scene. When that first happened, you're like, oh my gosh, what kind of movie are we in here?
Yeah,
that was great. Yeah, Joker had so many good scenes in there. Like, here's my card, perfect. Yeah, Liam Neeson wasn't in there. No Liam Neeson.
He came back for the last one a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but that would have been way over stuff if they had Liam Neeson in there. I mean, they already had so many.
They already had two villains, and that's usually risky enough.
Yeah, I mean, and the Scarecrow cameo as it is, if you count that, that's 3 there. Yeah, that's already a ton.
That Joker was good enough, though, that I supported the whole movie.
Yeah. I didn't even expect them when they were first promoting the movie and they were having Harvey Dent the electoral posters out as promotional stuff. I was like, oh cool, they're doing Harvey Dent. I didn't really expect them to actually have him be Two-Face in the movie. I thought they were just going to have Harvey Dent in the movie and save Two-Face for the third one, or have him turn into him at the very end or something as a cliffhanger. But I'm like, oh no, he's actually part of the movie. That's cool.
Yeah, and he has some of the best moments in the movie too, like when he's doing the contrasting with the Dark Knight and a White Knight and all that stuff, just his political speeches and philosophy and all that. To me, I mean, it makes sense. It's explaining the title. There we go. It's perfect. All right, so now we are on to Inception. All right, who's a fan of Inception here?
I like Inception a lot.
There we go, Tim. Start it off.
Take it away, Tim.
Well, I mentioned it before, but I love the concept of time, and this movie freaking nails time, getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So as you're watching the movie, you're seeing some characters playing out in something while other characters are still tumbling in a van. Conceptually, that movie is out. I couldn't fathom how the hell him and his brother came up with that concept and made that work for.
Yeah, how they made it work is the hard part.
It's honestly, my jaw dropped when I walked out of the theater though watching that for the first time, because it's just the way it plays with time is incredible, and that score, holy shit! You mentioned all his scores are great, but that's another great score.
Oscar-winning score, I believe.
Yeah, you'll know this because I don't. I'm not as familiar. Does he use different composers, or does he stick with one for a lot of his films?
The
bulk of his movies were Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer has been a good chunk, but he uses other people too.
Like his Batman and
what
Inception.
what
Chunk Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer was what Ludwig Harvard. Yeah.
Yeah. And who did it? Inception was
Interstellar,
that?
I think was Hans Zimmer
Zimmer?
still. Interstellar was still Hans Zimmer. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, those are all really good.
So, but yeah, conceptually, I freaking love what Interstellar pulled off, and I love endings that leave you thinking, and Inception's ending really leaves you thinking. And I'm curious what you guys think. Did it fall, or is it still spinning?
Oh, right. Yeah.
My head's still spinning just from the whole movie, but I'll let you guys talk more.
13 years later, my head's still spinning.
Yeah,
I love movies about dreams in general. So I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like my wife and I were joking. Like I've said this to her like years ago. Like Christopher Nolan's like on accident making like every movie I would make if I made movies. Like he made a Batman movie. He made a movie about a guy with no memory. He made a movie that goes through time. He made a movie that goes into space. He made a movie that's about dreams. It's like all the stuff I love and would make movies about, sci-fi movies about. Like, oh, this guy sucks. I love him. But so yeah, I love I almost said Interstellar. Too many movies that start with I next to each other. Inception, yeah, it's one of my favorites by far of his, and it always has been. And that was like finally his big like Oscar break, sort of, where it got into Best Picture. So that was awesome, and it won 4 things. But yeah, I love Leo. So seeing Leonardo DiCaprio on the poster for Christopher Nolan's Inception without having seen a trailer, I'm like, I'm there, July 21st, whatever it is. It always comes out like the same week of his birthday, which is adorable.
And even past Leo, the rest of that cast.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I mean, it is a stacked cast. Cillian Murphy, Elliot Page. Like it's just it's
Tom Berenger in there a little bit. And he passed away. It was like his last movie. Marion Cotillard is great. But yeah, that was like what made me fall in love with Tom Hardy too. Because I don't think I'd ever seen him in anything knowingly until that movie. And I was like, this guy's awesome. Who is this? Like, he has so much charisma, and I have no clue who he is, but I love him in this movie. And then I've loved him ever since. The only thing I'd seen him in before that I know of now was the fantastic Star Trek.
In Inception, Hardy is really good at the icebreaker little comedy, just to keep the levity going too.
Exactly. Yeah, he's comedic relief without being like annoying. He's just like a smart ass as opposed to just being like, I am funny. The working with time and how the score slows down with the time pacing of each scene.
The deeper you get in,
and then like the song they're listening to becomes the score at a slower and faster speed depending on what location you're in during the triple dream or whatever it is. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I finally just watched it again for the first time in years, and it's like, this movie's still awesome. It's so impressive just visually too.
Yeah, well, even his utter commitment to doing everything as practical as possible, like that the hallway fight as it's spinning is an actual hallway that is spinning with the actors inside. It's like almost all other movies would just CGI that.
Yeah,
but the fact that he's like, you know what, I'm actually going to build a real hallway and spin it with actors is freaking incredible. Not many directors would do that.
Wes Craven style.
Yeah, he did that a couple of times, but we'll get to that on some of the other ones that he did that for. But yeah, spinning rooms is not new, but when you can do it to great effect, it's nice.
It's not new to movies, but in the age of CGI, it's rare. It is rare.
Especially when they go through multiple rooms while they do it. That was also impressive.
Yeah. Nowadays, everyone's so damn committed to CGI. So when you see a director pretty much taking a hard stance on, I'm doing as much as I possibly can practically, I commend that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's too much of a crutch nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I was waiting for somebody to say Leo, but you did, so I don't have to, but I will, because I love Leo. So it was nice seeing, a new actor besides Bale and some of his stuff. And Leo is definitely who got me to see that film. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, Leo's in this. Okay. And it looks like he's taking everything he's learned up until now and just creating something even bigger than he could tackle. You know what I mean? It felt bigger than something he's even done.
Yeah.
And that certainly leads into everything that's coming up. That kind of reach, that the sort of passion to do something out of your comfort zone, even bigger. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I only seen this movie once, so I need to go back and rewatch it. Just
I only
once
saw it
again,
once.
the time playing around totally confused my brain. I'm like, where are we at now? We're in a dream, inside a dream. What's going on here? And it was losing me. I'm like, it looks really cool. It sounds really cool. What the heck is happening?
What's going on?
And then by the end, it wasn't any more clearer. So I'm like, wait, where did we go with all of this? But the cast is great in it.
There it is. I feel like these guys have seen it at least. Tim, you said 4 or 5 times. Derek sounds like.
Oh no, I've seen this one probably closer to 10.
I remember when I bought
I saw it once.
When I ordered the Blu-ray, I ordered this and the extended version of Avatar that came out in 2010, and they came the same day that we had La Blizzard. So I was on my way to work, and I couldn't get across the bridge that's about a quarter of a mile from my house with my wife. I think I was driving her to work. I'm like, screw it. Turned around, went back home, got the mail. We got those 2 movies. We just sat and rewatched Avatar and Inception like over and over and over and over.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You know what? You know what I need to try though? I wonder if putting commentary on these movies would help, like with just my viewing experience, because I would imagine they would explain what's going on with it, right? I don't know.
That'd be a fun movie to watch commentary on, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the
you get what I'm saying? Like walking you through, hey, this is what's happening in this scene. This,
Yeah.
I wonder if that would
Inception takes a couple watches, I think, to completely grasp. So watching it,
you know what? I bet Nolan does this stuff on purpose, though, for the box office. He's like, "Ooh, they got to go back to the theater more than one time on this one. Get that extra money."
It'll be so cool. They have
not a bad idea, right?
Yeah. But that movie was like the biggest movie of the year, like as far as like original ideas went too. He was like, you got to give him points for that. Like all of his movies that are non-Batman movies essentially are huge hits, even though they're like completely original concepts. And that's
and it is so freaking original, dog. Like even just the dreamscape area when they're in the deepest, it's just how the city is all crumbling and shaping. Like I commend them on just set design, production design, all of that.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
It still looks amazing too. Like I just watched it the other day. I'm like, these visual effects are better than anything that comes out nowadays. It's sad. Like when the city like folds up on itself, Yeah. It's like that looks. It's like it's so simple because it's probably just like a flat 3D image moving, but it looks better than anything else.
Yeah, and obviously that's where Nolan has to rely a little on CG. Yeah, hard to do.
Just like a model that is moved by CG, so it does both.
God, I love how the van is tumbling for like half the movie.
Yeah, like the whole third act, the van is falling into the river. Because what is it? Every second is like 20 minutes or something like that. By the end of it, yeah, I love
that. Caveman Movies and More says Joseph Gordon-Levitt is great in Inception.
Actually, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is great in general. He had a really good stretch going there, and now doesn't really do it near as much. I really liked him.
Yeah, like right after Inception, he was in a whole bunch, and he like directed some stuff, and like Looper. I love Looper.
Yeah,
I've been watching it a long time. I love Looper.
I think it was a bicycle riding movie.
Premium Rush. I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's good.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I love him and Michael Shannon, so I'd watch it just for that.
I was gonna say Zod is in that.
All right. Well, speaking of superhero stuff, my favorite, The Dark Knight Rises. Yes, perfection. It's a masterpiece. Literally everything is great about this movie. Reason why I put it slightly over The Dark Knight, because they're very close to me, as I do like the character arc for Bruce Wayne better in this movie. To me, this is the Rocky of the Dark Knight movies. You get to see him broken down to his very core. Bane just breaks his back, throws him in a cave, and then he has to relearn. He has to embrace fear to escape. I just love that idea right there. To me, it's like super cool, and he has to go through all that. So that's awesome. All the battles are great in the movie. Tom Hardy Bane is perfect in the movie. He's so menacing, and I love the voice. I know some people didn't care for the voice. I like the voice.
I love the voice.
His voice is great.
Your punishment must be more severe.
Come on, that is amazing. That is a perfect voice.
There you go.
Yes, I thought he was a great villain, and I liked him as a villain because now Batman has to face a physical threat. Everybody before really wasn't as much as a physical threat. I mean, like Scarecrow's not a physical threat, Joker's not, Two-Face not. I guess Ra's al Ghul kind of, but not as much as Bane, right? So that was really cool, different way to play that. And I like how this movie also makes Batman Begins better because you tie in all the Ra's al Ghul stuff with the League of Shadows. You get Talia al Ghul in there. So I like that connection. All the gadgets are great in this movie. When they bring in the bat, now it's all flying through the city. That's super fun. This movie has everything. I don't get it. I don't get why people don't like this one. To me, it's almost perfect. I would have liked a little bit more of the Talia al Ghul throwdown at the end, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, she's great in the movie. She's fantastic. So everything's great. I don't know. You guys take it away. You guys can rant on it now because I saw all the list and I'm like, oh, it's so sad. It's so low.
Who wants to rant first?
Well, I guess I'll go on it because I.
Oh yeah, you were a little higher. So.
It was high on mine too. There were some really spectacular elements. That football scene when the entire thing is collapsing is a visual stunner of a scene. And while I haven't seen, you know what's fun about doing this, y'all, is it makes me want to see a lot of these movies again. I mean, I saw some of them for the first time, and we'll get to some of those. But a lot of these, like the Dark Knight trilogy, I haven't seen in a long time. I want to revisit Dark Knight Rises because I do remember, honestly, I loved Anne Hathaway's Catwoman as well. I remember really liking her. Now, look, I also love Michelle Pfeiffer, so we're not going to compare because Michelle was amazing too. But I do remember, you know, without going, no, if I'm going off memory, I remember saying to myself, I liked Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. I thought it was great. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a decent button on the trilogy, you know, with him taking the bomb out to the sea and then, you know, Alfred sees him in France, you know. So that was fine. It was good. Yeah. But I would like to see it again to get those feels back again to see if I like them even more. Joe, and speaking of Jogo Lev, look,
I was just about to say that. I almost forgot him. He's great,
and we're all thinking, oh, he's going to take over the mantle. And I was actually fine with that because I loved. I was like, no, don't make him Robin. You know, if Bruce Wayne's done, go ahead and let him. You cast him as that. But then, you know, they were done with that trilogy, so it didn't matter what we wanted. That was it. So
yeah. Thank God.
I liked it. Yeah. Now these two guys, take it away.
Yeah. Go, Tim.
I mean, I don't have as much to say. I saw it in theaters. I didn't really walk out caring too much, but I still bought the Blu-ray day one, rewatched it. That was my second time, and I haven't watched it since. Tom Hardy's cool. I like him as an actor. I don't. I just don't really.
Your punishment must be more severe.
I'm sold.
I'm happy Mike likes it as much. I don't know. I just don't have much to say on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I really don't like this movie. I saw it like opening day, like, you know, whatever, as soon as I could. And the guy in the theater before me came out. He's like, "Oh, it's really good." Like I was just waiting in line to see the next show, and I saw it like an hour into it. I was like, "I don't like this. I don't think I like this movie very much."
The first hour is so good. That opening scene. The
opening
scene is beautiful.
I hate to say it. What's the opening scene?
Tom Hardy as
Bane. With the plane where they Bane boards the plane, and that's all practical,
yes.
and then they get the guy.
Yeah, the opening's great.
I was on par with the Dark Knight opening scene. I thought they were both
the opening was great. And then I just I love Tom Hardy as Bane. It's the only thing in this movie that I love. Everything else is like there's like so many plot holes at the end that I hate. Like, how did he get back? When did he change his clothes?
He's smart. He can find how to do this.
Happening? Why is Batman there? Why is Catwoman even in this movie, even though she's perfectly fine? Like, Catwoman, she's fine as Catwoman. I don't mind Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
I mean,
but she doesn't need to be in the movie at all. Like, she does not need to be in this movie at all.
Yes, she takes out Bane. How are they going to take out Bane without Catwoman?
Batman can do it. And like the thing my wife and I
he was broken down, his leg was messed up.
Yeah, his leg's messed up for like 8 years. And then he breaks his spine. and then he's fine in like 2 months and climbs out of a hole in the
Because
ground.
he embraced fear, Derek. You forgot.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I hurt my back 5 years ago. I can't bend over to pick up anything.
Oh my god!
But he's Batman.
Because you haven't
We have
embraced
to
fear,
get the
Derek.
theme there. He is Batman.
It's like the more I watch this movie, I'm like, I really don't.
See, you gotta
like
embrace
this.
the fear, Derek. You gotta do
amazing.
it off
It's
the road.
perfectly fine. It's just about,
God,
yeah,
Dylan,
oh,
Derek,
God.
clearly Batman's so smart. The Bat boat was waiting out in the ocean because he knew right where he was going to fly and drop the
Yeah.
bomb.
And they just
He
stole that from
swam-
Batman the movie. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he
he
swam to the
couldn't
boat.
get rid of the bomb, so he had to
Yeah,
use the plane.
Adam West was driving.
Stole it from Adam West. So thanks, Adam West, for that plot. But yeah, I just really like. I don't like this. Like, I really don't like it that much. But I'll watch it if I watch the other two. I'll always watch the third one because it's there.
Will you?
But outside of, I watch it because I like Tom Hardy that much in this
Oh,
movie.
well, that's. I mean,
Outside
that's
of
awesome.
him, I really don't like this movie. And I love his voice. He's amazing. Yeah. And I love Tom Hardy. I love how he sounds like this no matter what he says. And people, yeah, they hated his accent. Like, he has an accent. He's Bane. He has like a Spanish accent, and that's why he has a weird accent. It's from the comics. People complain about it. But yeah, outside of Bane, yeah, I can live without it.
Good talk. I love this.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's see comments. What do we got?
Get to the better movies now.
Oh, wait a minute. Take it easy.
I know. Let's see.
You heard what?
Oh yeah,
Wait,
see, this is what I would have liked. This is what I would have liked here. K-Man says, would have been better if they would have finished off with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's story arc, or they at least started it and maybe have gotten Nightwing live action. That's what I wanted. I wanted a Nightwing live action movie. That would have been so cool. Oh gosh, I want that. It can still happen, people. Well, we'll get it going. It'll be just as successful as the Howard the Duck campaign.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would prefer the Howard the Duck campaign over that. It's actually like the Duck too.
All right, now this one I think will be a little bit less controversial here. I think everybody's pretty happy with this one. So Interstellar, take it away. Who wants to talk about Interstellar?
Go.
what about one of you guys?
Okay, fine. So we had the sci-fi talk, sci-fi trivia, sci-fi collectors club.
Yeah.
You don't get a whole lot more just pure sci-fi than Interstellar. It's 3 hours that pretty much zooms by, I think.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't drag in the slightest.
You're right.
Concepts are cool as hell. I wish I recognized that damn ship because that whole sequence is really freaking cool. Like you said, walking when he gets out and you
like
think
2
it's a
feet of
deep
water.
ocean, and it's like that.
2 feet. Yeah.
But then gigantic waves.
I know. How is that happening? It was, dude, and
Gravity.
that wave really like got me spooked. It was so big. I'm like, oh, like you're terrified for them. It's just one wave, and that's the other thing too. It wasn't like a bunch of waves. It was one. Well, it was the second one that came too.
And what's genius in that scene too, every little tick you hear in the score is a day. So I love that's genius. I love even just the whole moral quandary of, do we go down? We're giving up years of our lives.
Yeah.
There's so much in that movie. It's deep. It's got great sci-fi elements. It is just well done all across the board.
Yeah. Having just seen this myself, I missed this again. Like, I don't know how, I'm just sci-fi guy, never got the chance. So I found it at a swap meet, brand new, still sealed, $4 done. I'm like, I want to see this movie. And I loved it. I loved this film. The emotional arcs. Oh my God. Especially, dad and a daughter, I got one, and that connection, and she thinks he's leaving him and he's really going to save her and the planet. And maybe I sort of missed it too, because it is Nolan. It's got a lot going on. I wasn't sure why the earth was being covered in dust and sort of rotting away. I missed that concept. Or do you just have to accept that's what's happening to Earth? I think I kind of missed why that was.
It's been a while since I watched it. I think it's just like that far into the future that's just like
Earth, everything's covered. Yeah.
It's just a plight that's taking out the crops. Yeah.
And I watched instantly, and get this, 3 hours long, you said, Tim, and you don't feel it.
No,
it flew by so fast. I put the making of in, which was an hour as well, and I watched that. So that's that tells you something, that it's that good. And I'm watching all those things, and all that dust was legit stuff they were putting in the air. I think it's like edible stuff too. So if but crew would clean it up and get it ready for the next day. But
That's
the
crazy.
performances were great. Chastain, I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, I hadn't seen her face for like an hour. And I'm like, isn't she in this film? I'm like, oh wait, it's going to be the daughter. She's going to be the daughter growing up. I'm like, oh my God, that means they're going to start growing, And sure enough, them being gone and those years started to tick away. And, she finally came around to reaching out to him, which you just wanted to see. You just wanted her to say hi to him. And Anne Hathaway was fantastic. Speaking of, and Batman, she was really, really good in this. And the only thing was a little like you really gotta suck it in at the end is the whole when he goes through the wormhole thing and suddenly
the fifth dimensional stuff. Yeah,
he's in the time thing with the bookshelves and all that. I'm like, what is this? Like that was the only thing I really felt like you needed some sort of thing, an effect to do the I'm really the guy behind the books. So okay, I went with it. But I mean that I didn't really get that. I'm like, why? How is he there? Do you know what I mean? And again, first time watching it, so maybe I missed why he's in the bookshelf.
I loved that whole concept though, where time isn't a linear path; it's basically a circle. So the fact that McConaughey could be back in time, toying with forces as she's a child leading to the future, like it's so cool.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah.
Like it is, again, it's playing with time, and I love that stuff.
Oh, and he comes back.
Pretty much every time travel-y thing has like done that now, with the time as a circle explanation.
Yeah.
More so than like the time's a line and you break it back to the future,
Yeah. I also have
that's kind of funny. It's like everything stole it from Interstellar. But yeah, this movie's gorgeous.
Great score too. Wow, it was so good.
It's so good. Especially when they're trying to like dock the ship as it's spinning. Like that scene's amazing.
Oh man, that was crazy.
But yeah, it's one of the better Nolan movies as far as like getting into the characters goes, which is one of the reasons I think I like The Prestige, is because it's actually more about the characters than the cool stuff. Some of his other movies, it's more about the cool stuff than the characters, and that's why his movies don't like click emotionally so well. This one does that better than most. But yeah, the whole fifth dimension thing at the end, like you were saying, Huck, is odd. I didn't love it the first time I watched it, but the more I watched it, the more I didn't care. Because I'm like, yeah, sure. Science fiction. I don't care anymore. But yeah, and who's the daughter when she's old? It's like Ellen Burstyn or something, isn't it? For like one scene.
When
it's a really good actress. I forget who it is, but
that's a good question.
It's someone who's great, and I can't think of who it is, but that popped in my head. Yeah, you got Casey Affleck as the son when he's grown up. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's like not only are they losing their years of their lives, they're losing years of his kids' lives too. So it's like that much worse. So yeah, the whole
you were right.
Watching his children growing up, 30 years in minutes. It's like, oh my god. Especially now that I have a kid, if I watch it now, I'd probably bawl my eyes out. I haven't watched it probably since.
I was bawling.
McConaughey's performance when he's watching the videos.
Oh, dude.
And seeing progressively how the videos are turning from "Hi, I hope you're doing well" to "I don't know if you're getting this. This is my last message." Like, oh my god, his performance is so great.
Oh yeah, when he was just bawling, I was bawling with him. Yeah, I was feeling that. And yeah, you're right. It was Ellen Burstyn was the.
It was right. Okay, I love it.
It was also Lithgow, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Lithgow. That's right. Yeah,
we didn't mention Matt Damon.
Yeah, Timothée is like
dude. I did not know Matt Damon was in this movie. I was like, I love surprise. I'm like, oh my god, Damon's in this thing.
Nobody knows he's in that movie when you see it the first time, as long as it didn't get spoiled for you. Yeah, I didn't know either. Yeah, in theaters, I was like, oh crap. That was the last movie I saw in IMAX too, because they don't have IMAX theaters here anymore. Like I took a picture of it for you guys earlier. I was at the zoo, the Minnesota Zoo, and there's a giant IMAX theater there. It's still there. Been closed for 6 years now. Still there though. like either tear it down or open it again. Come on, I want to go see Oppenheimer. Come on.
Yeah, so I liked Interstellar. To me, it was a movie that looked and sounded great, like all of Nolan's movies, but you could actually follow this one. So even though it was about the concept of time, because I love time movies, I just don't like when you do with the editing and mess it all around with the timeline and that. But it was about time, but you could easily follow it. It worked for me. The characters were great. It was a long movie, but like you guys, I was so into the movie, I could not take a break. And I was at home. I'm like, I can pause it right now, but I don't want to. I want to see how it plays out. So yeah, it made sense by the end, and yeah, it was cool. I like that movie.
It's pretty.
All right. So next up, Tim.
You guys can start if you want.
Actually, you know what? I'll start.
We should end on Tim on this.
I literally just saw this today. This is the last one I squeezed in. It was on Netflix, so if anybody's watching this and they also haven't seen it, I think it leaves on the 11th. So you have till the 11th to go see it. I didn't know what to expect because I remember sort of the rivalry we got going, like the Tim and the Mike and the Tim. I'm like, uh-oh. But I actually really like this movie quite a bit. Like, I'm not a big war movie guy, so that's why I'm always sort of late to the party on a lot of these films. But it was really easy to follow. Mike, you gotta love that.
I needed to press like fast forward though. Like,
dude,
it's easy to follow. Like,
it's one of his shortest. The reason I squeezed it in is it was an hour and 49 minutes. I'm like,
you're
oh
joking.
my God.
I swear to God, that movie's 2 hours and a half at least.
No, it was an hour and 49. And I thought the performances were really good. The kid that was in Banshees of Inisherin's in it, really sad with his character. But you know, it was also just sort of like this is what's happening in this moment. I know he was trying to do something about 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week or something like that. Tim, you probably know.
That's what it is.
Although I feel like he didn't really need to do that. Like for me, it was just all a thing. Like if you just took those graphics off, it did not play into me grasping time in this film because it was already understood what was going on where. But maybe you can talk better on that because I know you've seen it a bunch. But yeah, for me, I sort of enjoyed the flow and the story and the characters. I really got like emotionally invested. Gosh, there was one thing right at the end I did not expect, and I looked at my wife, I like almost started crying, like, oh, but I'll think of it. All right, but that's my take. Having just seen it, I actually liked it quite a bit. Sorry, Mike.
No, that's good. I want everybody to love every movie. Yeah.
Should I go next? Because I'm in the middle too.
Go for it.
So I finally rewatched it for the first time since theaters. I saw it in 70 millimeter film. Like when it came out, it was awesome. I want to go see Oppenheimer now, but I don't know if I'll have a chance. I remember the girl sitting next to me who was not my wife. She was on this side. The other girl was over here. I don't know who she was.
She was holding your hand.
And she was holding my hand and out of fear. But yeah, the projector started going, and we could hear it. And she's like, "Oh, that sounds like a film projector." And everyone was like, "It is. You're at the 70 millimeter film showing. Like, you came here on accident to go see them." I'm like, "You jerk. I had to drive like 40 minutes to get here, and you're here by mistake." But anyways, it's not much remember that about the. So like first time I saw it, like I liked it, but I didn't love it. Like technically, it's amazing. I loved it that way, but I thought it was fine. I didn't love the characters really. Like you don't know them enough to care too very much. Right. I did like Barry Keoghan's character, or Barry Keoghan from Banshees, and like Mark Rylance were the best part, I thought. And watching it again finally, like 3 days ago or something, for the second time, I felt the same way character-wise. Yeah. But the movie did feel faster because it is short. It's like 106 minutes long or something like that. It's very reasonably. It's like under an hour and 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And Cillian Murphy's in there too.
Yep, Cillian Murphy's in there too, and you do feel bad for him once you figure out what's going on, especially when you see what happens. It's like, oh god, and
that's the part, Derek. That's the part is when the blonde kid looks at Cillian and Cillian goes, "Is he okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, he'll be okay."
Because
I don't know why. I don't know why, but that literally brought me to tears because he could have just like leaned into him saying, "No, you a-hole," like really like, but he took a different path knowing that they have seen so much already.
Exactly. Yeah.
They have to deal with so much in their life now that one thing he took away. And that really got me because it is, you're not super invested in anybody per se because it's just an ensemble of people trying to survive.
Yeah.
But the little bit of investments you can make, that one paid off unexpectedly.
Yeah. That was the best part of the movie to me, character wise, was that little group of people.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, because like he starts, yeah, the little blonde guy is like telling him, "Oh, you screwed up and all this stuff earlier in the movie, and you hurt the kid, and he's bleeding, and blah blah blah." And then once they go through a little bit, like even a little bit of what that guy's gone through,
Yeah.
he understands that, like, yeah, you don't need this right now.
Yeah.
So I'll save you from this one. But yeah, and then I love the editing and the score and how it like layers upon itself from the different time speeds. I don't know how to describe it. Because yeah, like you said, the 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour thing. It's like the 1 week, it's like the guys on the beach having to survive 1 week to get rescued is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
The plane is 1 hour and the boat is 1 day, I think, right? If I'm remembering right. I'll let you go more into it. But yeah, I really liked it. I liked it a lot more the second time I just watched it. It's still not my favorite. It's not something I can rewatch a whole bunch, but I really, really like the movie and it's extremely well made. So, Tim or Mike, you hate on it.
Mike can go first.
Like you hate on it, so Tim can love it.
Yeah, I'll just second what Caveman says. Dunkirk has a great sound design. You have to admit that, Mike. Yes, it looks and sounds great. It's like you're watching a very pretty painting. And yep. All right, Tim, what do you got?
Mike's like, and that's about it.
All right, so I think a lot of people went into it with the wrong conceptions on what it is, first of all, which falls into marketing too. It is a war movie. It takes place during war, but it's not a war movie in the same sense as a lot of other stuff. It's not a good versus bad. Huck, you touched on it. This movie is purely about survival. That is the theme of the entire movie. This isn't about Germany coming encroaching. This is about these men are in a no-win situation with death looming. They survived on improbable odds. And Dunkirk, the actual event, is essentially a turning point in the entire war. Like, World War II does not go the same way. The UK falls. Like, they lose to Germany if Dunkirk doesn't go the way it does, if all those men don't survive. And it's essentially a turning point in the entire war. So it's a monumental event that happened, and it's portrayed in the film so freaking well, I think. I know character development gets brought up in a lot, but to me, it's not about, you brought it up again, Huck, you touched on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's about the group as a whole. This isn't about, hey, here's Jerry and this is what happened with him. That's not what this is about. This is about these men trying to survive, Britain trying to continue on. That's what it's about. And I think too many people went in kind of like, this is a war movie, so it's like Saving Private Ryan, and I'm going to follow this guy in his journey, and that's not what the movie is.
Yeah.
In fact, even all the Germans are faceless. It's just
it's
the plane.
completely.
It's just planes dropping bombs. That's how.
Yeah, you don't see it. Yeah, that's the most you see. Is the
so there's no connection to the impending death, right? Yeah. It's faceless, as it would be to them on the shores.
Yeah,
those faceless attacks. That's what they are. So that's how we saw it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of men on the beach with essentially thinking they're going to die here.
Yeah,
there's almost no hope of getting out alive. And the movie is Nolan is trying to also make you think and put yourself in that situation. How would you react? What would you feel? That's what he's going for in the themes. I actually watched the whole making of for the movie too. Like his aim of the movie is not to have this deep character development. It's not a flaw in the movie that doesn't have character development. Yeah. That's the intention. It's supposed to just be about survival. So I think it absolutely aces everything it does. Like I said, this is in my top 5 of all time.
Oh wow!
Not just Nolan, like all time. I freaking adore this movie. I literally think it's perfect. I think it nails everything. I absolutely adore the editing style. I love seeing a plane go down in one perspective and then see the boats coming 20 minutes later and seeing that same from a different perspective. I freaking love that. Everything about it. I love that Tom Hardy is such a great actor that he doesn't care to have his face shown.
Yeah. I didn't know he was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can barely tell it at all if you don't know it's
Your punishment must be more severe.
He likes to have his face covered in movies.
He does, right? Yeah, Mad Max. He's got that
Mad
thing.
Max, Spain, that. Yep.
So
But yeah, I think my wife even told me that's not how that character's fate was. I think he survived. He wasn't captured like that. In reality, that was. In fact, I wasn't even sure why they did that at the end. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, probably just to leave him on like that hero type note because he's that hero in the sky, the one guy saving their ass. So they
well, but then you also have him captured. So all you can think now is this hero is going to be tortured and killed. So to me, that was the only thing. Like, you didn't need to leave us with that for the character who saved those people at the end. That was the one little thing at the end. I was like, well, now that guy's
Yeah. If it didn't happen, then it's kind of odd that it. I do like him like burning the plane and stuff was cool. Like that would.
Yeah, that was great. You should just left
it
it there
on that without the capturing implication.
because he's gonna be dead.
Yeah. I liked it a lot more the second time I watched it, and I liked it the first time I watched it. So that just shows you how much more I like it now.
All right, so we're on to Tenet. Which
Okay, Mike, you get to start. You said so little about Dunkirk. You can start.
I want to know why you don't like it, though. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, that's
do
true.
You want it, Tim? Yeah. Do you want me to go off on?
Besides, like the time confusing parts, what don't you like about Dunkirk?
Because this is what I like about our dynamic is I like we're not all seeing.
All right, fine. I'll talk about Dunkirk then. So you guys already mentioned the characters. I cannot remember a single character's name. I could not connect to any of the characters. To me, I need to be able to connect to a character. I want like full-on character arcs with them. I would love that they gave more like background stories to these characters. You know, why'd they want to get home? Like flesh out their stories a little bit more so I have people to root for. And like I said, it drags at a snail's pace. Like all I remember is Tom Hardy, he's in a plane for the longest time. Like literally it's just like he's in a plane, but nothing's happening. You know, it's just like he's in a plane and the plane keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And I'm just like, okay, what are we doing here? I think the biggest action part of that movie was like a boat sinking, right? If I remember correctly, would you guys say that's the biggest action part?
I mean, there's several sinkings in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of boats that go down.
Okay.
Yeah,
especially really exploding and
with the fire in the water and the guys getting on the other boat. That was like a big scene.
Yeah, so to me, I mean, there's a little bit of that action flair in it, but not enough for me to be like I said, I felt this movie. I'm shocked you guys said this was an hour, 49, 45, something like that.
Short. Yeah.
I thought this was 2 hours and a half. Like I just felt like I was checking my time the whole time during this movie. Just once again, I didn't care about the characters, and I like the story. Like I think the story is fascinating, but I guess I can contrast it to another political war movie I like that tells the story I think more interesting in a shorter way, which is The Darkest Hour. I know you like that one too, right? The Darkest Hour.
I do, but that's only telling one side though.
Yeah, so I like how in The Darkest Hour, like it tells the Dunkirk story, but at a much quicker pace. It gives the information you need to know about it. And then, of course, you got Gary Oldman like giving a really powerful performance where you're really connecting with him. Like I had no connection in this movie. I didn't have where I'm like, okay, with a character. It was just like, once again, everything felt very dull and very like in reverse slow down mode. And I'm just like, okay, what are we doing here? So I think the Dunkirk story is fascinating. I love historical stuff. I just thought it could have been told in a more exhilarating way, if that makes sense. Like more excitement to it, you know? Yeah. Like you can tell so many different stories in so many different ways. I felt this was like the least exciting way to tell what I think is a fascinating story, but it's just the least exciting way to tell it.
So this isn't the first Dunkirk. There is another Dunkirk movie called Dunkirk. That's not specifically an action movie either. I don't know. There's not really a way. The actual event isn't in action, or like it is literally men on a beach waiting to die or get rescued.
Yeah.
Like that. That's the actual. So
I don't really know
movies
as action.
But you can do it with the political stuff in the background. With Darkest Hour, you have that political conversation and debate and discussion and. Like you feel it in that movie, so that's something I can compare to. In this movie, I don't feel that. I don't know.
Just take both movies and re-edit them together into one perfect Dunkirk movie.
Yeah, I need more. I need more backstories happening. I need something where it's like, okay, I care about this character. I want to know what happens with this character. You know, like I want to root for this character.
I will say,
you know,
when
like
you
a Rocky story. You know,
I will say when you said you wanted to know why they want to get home, they want to survive. Like that's literally the reason.
Well, yeah, but give me some more. Give me some family history. Like you got like a lover. You need
But
to
then
go
you got a
see,
2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
But then
Then
it's
it would be
something
three
that
more. I don't want.
two more, you know.
I
But
don't want
speed it
that.
up. Speed up the plane taking so slow. You know, speed certain things up. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I like the Dunkirk story itself. I just thought it was told in the most not way I would have told it.
As far as showing just that side of the story, that probably is the most exciting way you could tell it, though, because it shows different, branches of the military's sort of perspectives on the story. Because you get the Air Force, the ground troops, and the Navy ships, all together trying to work together to get out of there. Yeah, because it's not like it's like invading Omaha Beach, like in the opening of Saving Private Ryan, where it's like, yeah, everyone died pretty much.
Yeah, so that's why I don't even know if I would do a full movie on Dunkirk. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would have a full movie dedicated to it. Like, I would plug into another movie, I guess I would say.
But like real event wise, it literally is a turning point of the entire World War.
Mm-hmm.
The Great Britain falls if Dunkirk fails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's like 300,000 people there or something like that.
Yeah.
They were running. Yeah, they were running out of troops. That was it.
Because he said we need at least 30,000 for the upcoming war, and he goes, and we have, I think, 300,000, maybe more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick around and help France.
Because what year does Dunkirk take place? I forget.
41.
It was like right before America joined, or
I want to say it was 41.
The caveman movie, the more says, unfortunately, you're not supposed to root for an individual character. You're supposed to root for Great Britain, Mike. See, that's the thing, though. I like latching on to specific characters. That's why I like superhero stories. Like, the superhero, like you connect with the charactor,
Great Britain is the character.
I know, like it's so.
You all have the same accent. Grasp to that.
All right, let's move on to Tenet.
Yeah, that's the thing. But hopefully, I made myself
it was good.
I just wanted to hear it. Besides, I totally understand everything you said.
Yeah, like especially if you watch The Darkest Hour 2 and you really look at that Dunkirk part, like you'll see what I'm saying. Like I feel like that was more exhilarating.
They work amazing together, but you're getting two different sides of the coin. I think both are needed for context, not one or the other. Because I love Darkest Hour, but I think they work together.
And they were both nominated the same year. Funny enough.
All right, to Tenet.
That movie.
Yeah, I have way less to say on this one.
Oh, you want me to start on Tenet too?
It feels like no matter who starts, we're gonna all.
Yeah,
you start, Mike.
So I like the premise of Tenet. It's interesting doing things in reverse. So a lot of the scenes do look really cool, especially when they get to the ending and all the buildings and stuff, and they're going backwards. Like things look really cool in the movie. But once again, I don't connect with much of the characters here. It's very confusing to understand what's going on, especially with the sound. It's really tough to hear what certain people are saying. But I think Nolan said he was doing that on purpose because it's supposed to be a little bit ambiguous, right? I don't know, but it just leaves me more confused. I wish I could really understand what every character is saying.
Oh God, the sound design is not good in this one.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah, so it's a confusing movie. I've watched it now. I think I've watched it twice now because I did pick up the 4K when I got like super cheap. It was like $10 or something. I watched it with the subtitles, see if that would help. Kind of helped, just a little bit, but yeah, it's okay. Like I said, the premise is cool. Like the premise idea is really interesting. It's just not really executed in a way that makes a lot of sense or that's super enjoyable. But the cast is good. Robert Pattinson, he's good in the movie. Eventually, so there you
David
go.
Washington's very good.
Yeah, very good as well. So I mean, to me, it has all the Nolan like stuff you get in other movies. Great cast, good music overall, good visuals, cool premise. But that's where it stops for me. What do you guys think now?
So Tenet feels like Nolan getting the biggest ego possible. It felt like he took a lot of what I love and just cranked it up to 11, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like it felt like it was a very ego-driven movie, purposely complex for no reason, not really that interesting overall. Like there's cool concepts to it, but it's not really that intriguing to watch. The performances are probably much the best part. Like John David Washington and Robert Pattinson are good. Almost everything else is really not that good. I watched it once and I have almost no interest to ever return to it.
All right, so I just watched it literally before this thing, and it's awful. It is so
No sugarcoating there.
So, Mike, you would talk about a movie that felt long. I was an hour and a half in. I'm like, okay, it's got to be getting near the end. I hit pause, and there was still an hour left of this movie, and I could care less. I thought the performances were mediocre, honestly, even from the lead. I thought Robert, though, was really good. Like that's when I kind of saw, oh, he's getting to use his own accent, right? I think that's his own accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Tim, overly inflated ego, overly complicated story, needlessly so. I was trying to do all this stuff. Oh, the bullets go back. I'm like, what are you talking about? Backwards medals and bullshit like that. It was just a moronic concept that he couldn't pull off. And then, when you do that was him driving in the car. I don't care. Oh, wait, you're going backwards. So the flames made you cold. I don't care. Like all these things that he's coming up with, it just didn't matter. And I had, when this is over, this will never be a rewatch for me. It's not even will it. It never will. There's nothing rewatchable to me for this film. I'm done.
I didn't hate it that much.
It was bad.
But yeah, I bought it because it was like the one movie that year I wanted to see when COVID happened.
I was so excited for it. Yeah,
I bought it the day it came out because I didn't see it in theaters. I would have had I not had a kid at home to not be able to see movies with. But yeah, it's convoluted to the point where it's exactly what Tim said. Like where it's like, I'm Christopher Nolan, I can make anything cool and exciting. I'm like, no, now you're just have a stick up your own ass and you think you can do anything, but you can't because it doesn't make sense. Like all your other movies made sense, at least they made sense on paper. This movie, I don't understand how this movie could even make sense on paper. Like,
yeah,
if you read the screenplays and everything else, by the end of it, it makes sense. This movie doesn't really. Like, it gets a little more interesting towards the end when you do see this stuff happening, like in reverse time, like he's fighting himself in the hallway, like kind of thing. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, and it's shot really cool, and it looks great, and sound editing is great. The sound mixing is fucking dog shit. Pardon my French.
You can't hear anybody too. Someone made a joke about Oppenheimer saying, "Hey, I hope we can, hear people talk in Oppenheimer."
Yeah.
I didn't really know what they meant by that until I saw Tenet. I'm like, I was literally turning my volume up all the time just for normal conversation,
all the way up to even hear it.
People love to whisper act. My least favorite thing nowadays is that whisper acting. I can't stand whisper acting. It's like it's supposed to draw you in, but it's actually quite annoying.
Unless you're like hiding in a closet, that makes no sense. But yeah, it's like visually, it's amazing. It's technically astounding, and it won its visual effects Oscar for a reason. But there's also a reason that's pretty much all I got. So it's like, the backwards bullets. God, I forgot about that. I want to watch it again, just hoping I like it more.
You let me know.
You just do not give a shit about anybody in this movie at all. Like, and I love time travel movies, and it's like, oh, this is really interesting take on time travel. Like they're going backwards while they're going forwards. It's kind of cool. But it has
and
to
Kenneth Branagh's in this too.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh's in it. He's good.
Loves
Aaron Taylor Johnson was cool for a little bit. You get to see him. Like the red team's going forward and the blue team's going backwards. And we're blowing up this building while we're rebuilding it on this side. That's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, for how much I love Nolan playing with time, it didn't work here.
And it's 2.5 hours long. So
yeah.
Now that feels way longer than 2.5 hours.
It does.
It feels as long as it is, at least, yes.
Oh, it drags.
Mike?
I'm going to readjust my list, even though Mike already has had the stuff in there, because I'm making myself angry talking about Tenet.
Yeah, like I
already-
said, Tenet's fine. It's watchable to me, but like I said, it's towards the lower end. I would still watch it 10 times more than Dunkirk, but that's just me. But you know,
Wow.
No characters in this to latch onto either. And it is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know. You
You,
get
and
exactly
you don't
what you
learn
want,
anything.
right?
At least you learn something watching Dunkirk.
all right. So let's go to the bounce back here then for Nolan. I'm guessing Oppenheimer. Who wants to talk about Oppenheimer?
We all did see it. Yeah, we all saw it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. It was
Not in the format I prefer.
it was freaking great. I was engaged. My friends watched it and said it flew by to them. It did feel 3 hours to me, but to me it also was 3 hours very well spent. I don't feel there was anything that needed or should be cut. I felt like everything deserved to be there and it kept me engaged. The acting is freaking superb. The editing is amazing. The sound design is amazing. Like literally, it checks all of the boxes. It is a fantastic movie. I have it super high in my like Nolan list in my mind right now. I need to rewatch again to see how it falls. But right now, I'm really high on it. Like I loved it. Like almost nothing bad at all. Like it's freaking awesome. I love Nolan in World War II, I guess.
Yeah. Real things help when there's something to latch onto there.
Yeah, I thought performances were outstanding in this film. Cillian Murphy, I think, has a lock on at least a nomination here. How can he
Oh, for
not?
sure.
I think he is the lead. He carries the entire film. Great supporting actors, performances. Even Emily Blunt, the females are great in this film as well. And there's a little bit of time jumping in this as well, but it's not super confusing. Sometimes it is. I'm like, am I in the past right now? Like I did have to kind of try to keep all that in check.
Yeah,
but
once or twice. Yeah.
but if you're just sort of absorbing all the dialogue as a whole, it was easy to catch up. And similar to Tenet, I did check my watch, but it's not because I thought it was slow. It's because when the bomb finally went, and by the way, Tim, I mean, we were talking about like somebody was saying, "Oh, the bomb should have gone off. We should have seen it." I'm like,
Oh God,
no. The whole point is it gets taken away to do what he doesn't want to get done. And then it happens. And they hear about it like we, and that was, I love that. I love that he took that in the way we took it in, which is, we know what happens with that bomb. I don't want to see that. Oh my God. And the sound design, I got to tell you, when the bomb went off and it was silent, I was literally gripping my chair because I was waiting for like a loud pop. And I'm like, oh, he chose silence. And then Cillian, Murphy delivers a line. As soon as he gets done delivering the line, bam! I was like, oh, like that, it startled me. Yeah. And to be honest, it's like I didn't want to hear more bombs going off because I was on the edge because it hit like 4 times. So yeah, that sound design was just had me like, oh man, in my seat. So yeah, I thought this was what everything he's learned is built to putting this film together.
Yeah.
So for it being 3 hours, yes, you did feel the 3 hours, but the acting was so good. I was invested in all the characters, even Robert Downey. Oh, I was going to say the reason I checked my watch is because the bomb had gone off and I hadn't seen Robert Downey. You were saying how Robert was so good. He's a shoo-in. I'm like, no, he's not. He's barely in this movie.
Yeah, he's not in it too much.
But like, I was like, what are you smoking? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, it's 2 hours in, and I think now we're about to start switching the story, and that's exactly what happened. Now it sort of went to the other actors. I'm like, all right, here we go, and then that hour, flew by. So yeah. I like this.
Topping on what you said about seeing the bomb too. Yeah, anyone that goes into this wanting to see the bomb drop on Hiroshima went into a movie about the bomb and not about Oppenheimer. They're two different types of movies. That guy that ranted at me had zero concept on the type of movie he went to watch. This was about Oppenheimer, not the fucking bomb.
You want to watch the bomb, watch the opening of The Wolverine starring Hugh Jackman.
The Wolverine. No, I've seen that once. That's all.
Yeah, but it has the bomb.
Mike, what about you, Mike?
All right, so I'm not as high on this one as you guys are. I'm more in the mid-range. I liked it. It was great for a historical piece to get tons of information. So I appreciated it for that. And it lived up to the name of the movie. It's Oppenheimer. It's a biopic about Oppenheimer, so you got a ton of his story. But once again, I wouldn't have gone that direction with it. I wouldn't have gone with that movie. Once again, I would have gone Manhattan Project movie. But this is Oppenheimer, so I get Nolan told the story he wanted to perfectly. Once again, it's just not the story I wanted.
Yeah.
I would have focused more on the Manhattan Project and the bomb stuff and the fallout to make it a little bit more exhilarating. I felt they spent too much time on the political party stuff. Like that felt way more drawn out than even the Manhattan Project stuff. Like I felt like that part got less. So I would have cut it down to probably 2 hours. 3 hours was way too long. After they did the testing of the bomb, I would have been done. I would have stopped the movie there. Like that would have been enough for me to walk away and been like, oh, okay, that was really impactful just with that explosion and him feeling the way he felt. But then it went on with all the Robert Downey Jr. stuff and all like the court case stuff. I felt that was too much added on. So I would have cut that out. But
So you didn't want to see like the downfall of Oppenheimer?
No. I'd rather have seen like you get what I'm saying? Like
it's sort of similar to Lincoln. When you see Lincoln, you're kind of waiting for him to get shot, right?
Yeah.
But the movie was not about that part of his life. It sort of ended, at the part it did. And yeah, so I can see if you would have ended Oppenheimer there and where he felt after the bomb, that also still would have been an impactful film. It just brought the downfall. It just did the second half.
Yeah. But the sound was great. The explosions, they were catching me off guard sometimes too. So it looked really cool on screen.
Shocking when those
were yeah. Those were great. Like visually, like that was some of the favorite stuff I've ever seen in a Nolan movie. So that was all on point. Cast was great here once again. And so many surprises in the cast members. I'm like, wait, this character is in here? Yeah, like that cast member's in there. Like I'm like, there's so many cast members in here. What wasn't like, didn't Josh Peck end up being in the movie, right?
Yep.
Josh Hartnett was in the movie.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett. He was really good.
He was so good in the movie.
My wife didn't recognize him at first. She was like looking at me like, because like you told me he was really good at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he was in that because I'd heard it when they were announcing it. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell my wife because I'll freak out.
It's funny. I feel like he's been out of movies completely, and then I just saw him in that Jason Statham movie, Operation Fortune, and now this back to back. I'm like, oh,
he's making a comeback for sure.
That was
cool. Well, Fraser,
I wasn't expecting that
for the Oscar.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. So once again, it has all the good Nolan stuff you want. Great cast, sounds, visuals, everything like that. So
yeah, it's far and away. I mean, not like I've watched every movie that came out this year so far, but it's far and away my favorite movie that came out this year so far.
Yeah, it's definitely not on my top 10, but I liked it. I still gave it thumbs up. So I still enjoyed it overall. But the thing is, I wouldn't rewatch this one. I don't think I'm going to get it on physical because I don't think I would ever rewatch it. Like, I don't
like
think
more. You always need to watch everything twice. That's what I say.
Not on this one.
Like, everything?
Not
on this one. Watch every movie twice just to make sure.
Not on this one, though, because I wasn't confused by this one at all. I got the story. I already knew the story going into it. So it played out the way it should, just like entertainment value. I'm like, am I ever going to be in an Oppenheimer mood where I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's play Oppenheimer again. I don't think there's any rewatchability for me, at least, but I liked the first time watch. Like I said, I think it was more informational, and I think I appreciated the movie more than super enjoyed it type of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people feel with Schindler's List. It's a great film with lots of impact, but I've never been in a Schindler's List again. Like I've never watched it a second time because it's so intense,
Schindler's List is somehow the most rewatchable. That's for the horrible subject matter. It is so insanely rewatchable just because Steven Spielberg knows what he's doing. But yeah, Oppenheimer, I loved it. My wife was afraid to see it. For a period, she was like, "You might be able to go see this by yourself because I'm anxious thinking about it." And she was gripping my hand throughout half the movie. Anytime the sound design with the score would build up like crazy because it's beautiful, and how the editing and the score and the sound work together like a roller coaster throughout this movie is amazing. And yes, the bomb detonation is outstanding. And yeah, I had heard Robert Downey Jr. was in it more than we initially thought beforehand. Like he was a big part in the third act. That's what I heard. So when that part kicked in, I was like, oh yeah, here he comes. Oh, he's kicking ass. And yeah, every actor in this movie, little or big, plays their roles perfectly. I love it. Yeah, there's not much else said. Yeah, Gary Oldman. Oh my god, that was the surprise ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Gary Oldman is Truman, and he just hates him. But yeah, see, you got to see the downfall of the character to understand what he actually went through. It's like the story's about what he had to go through mentally to create this horrible, horrible thing that won the war, despite how terrible it actually is. And just pray that we don't kill ourselves with it. Like you need to have that at the end. You can't just end it on, oh, it exploded, yay America. You know, you have to end it on, we're all gonna die, and it's our own fault that we're all gonna die because we're horrible people. That's the message of the people or movie essentially.
So we're still early, but what do you think, Derek, on a SAG ensemble win for this? Because
I wouldn't go as far as win because I haven't, not enough has come out. But I would. It's a big enough cast to get nominated.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
It's huge.
I was actually looking at the credits at the end to see who was individually named because that's how you pick who's in the SAG ensemble if you're credited individually. And a few of the characters weren't that I liked, like who was it? The Safdie brother, Benny Safdie.
But he's not.
He's one of he's dually credited, so I don't know if he counts for the ensemble. But he was one of my favorite people in the movie because I'm like, how was he so good with this Russian accent character?
Yeah,
I think that's part of it. Obviously Killian and Downey Jr. and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely up there. And as much as I want to see Dune 2, part of me kind of wants it to get delayed till next year, just so Oppenheimer can sweep all these sound editing and score Oscars under from Dune, because I don't want to see Dune win the same Oscar 2 years in a row. Long story short.
Do you think though? So say Dune comes out to the same reception as the first Dune, I still feel like Oppenheimer is pretty much praised. The first Dune, I don't feel it had the same love that Oppenheimer is having now. I still feel Oppenheimer.
I would agree with that.
Win.
Yeah.
I would hope so. I mean, it would win.
Dune even has less love now too, as of recent. I feel like more people are hating on Dune Part 1.
Yeah, because that's something I haven't rewatched again. I'd want to watch Oppenheimer now way more than I want to watch Dune again. The only reason I want to watch Dune again is because I want to see it before the second one. Pretty much. But yeah, that's a technically only movie for me. But Oppenheimer, it's engaging because you get into the characters or the people because they're not characters of the film. And the story and anything World War II related, it's always interesting, pretty much, as long as it's told well.
Yeah.
Essentially it's a long movie. It feels more or less 3 hours long, but I don't care if a movie feels as long as it is, as long as it's good. It's people are it's 3 hours long and it feels that long. So it's 3 hours long. It should feel 3 hours long. If it feels shorter than that, then you're lucky. If it feels longer than that, then you got a problem. But if it feels like as long as it is, then you just watched the movie. So good for you.
All right.
I liked it a lot.
All right. So now everybody's ready to rank every Nolan movie. So we're just going to compare lists here. So just kind of run through these fairly quickly, I guess you could say. So everybody has their list?
Yep.
All right, Huck, what do you got? And you start from the bottom and work your way to the top.
Bottom. Okay, and I'm only putting the following at the lowest because I didn't see that one. Although if I did, it'd probably be Tenet. So it's following Tenet, Insomnia, Memento, Inception, Prestige, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Returns. I'm going to flip these two. I had them in a different. I'm going to go Dunkirk next, then Interstellar, because I think I had a little bit more emotion with Interstellar, then Oppenheimer and Dark Knight. So Oppenheimer's right up there. I was pretty surprised. So,
all right, Tim, what do you got?
All right, following Tenet.
Look at
that. Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, Insomnia, and that's kind of the breaking point on where I'm and then Dark Knight that's what starts trending way up. Memento, Inception, Prestige, Interstellar, Oppenheimer, Dunkirk.
All right, Derek.
Okay. Well, I had Dark Knight Rises at the bottom, but the more we talked about Tenet, the more I realized, God, Tenet sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Because I'm like, oh, I'd rather watch Tenet than Dark Knight Rises again.
So,
But
no,
then
you won't.
I'm like, do I though? So I'll put Tenet at 12.
Yeah.
Then the Dark Knight Rises,
Suck
only
it,
because it disappointed me so much compared to the first two.
Oh.
Then the following, because good job on your first movie, Christopher Nolan. I love you. Then Insomnia, then Dunkirk, then Oppenheimer, only because I've only seen it once. Then, like, everything up I love. Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Memento, Prestige is number 1.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. All right, for me, we got Dunkirk, The Following. Haven't seen The Following.
Wait, you put a movie you didn't see above Dunkirk?
I told you. You know me, Tim. You know
But
me,
you didn't
Tim.
even see it, though.
That is hilarious.
You got to give it the benefit of the doubt.
If I
Come on.
watch,
So bad.
okay, for example, if there's Skinamarink and you got other movies I haven't seen, I'm still putting Skinamarink at the bottom. It's how it's going. Because the likelihood that I
Just don't include it then.
the likelihood that I dislike The Following and Memento
it would
more
be
than
better off-
Dunkirk, that's like a
It'd be better off
0.001%.
if you didn't even include it, though. That's kind of weird to put a movie you didn't even see above it. Like, at least Huck put it at the bottom.
I really don't like Dunkirk, though. I'm telling you,
didn't even see
it's
Following.
my second most hated movie of all time. So
But there's things you like about it. At least.
You're telling me you think Following will end up being my second most hated movie of all time?
No, it'll
Or
still
Memento will
Is
be
you
my.
didn't see it, though. That's what I'm
It's totally
But
firm.
there's potential. It
Totally
could be.
firm.
All right,
keep going.
if I see it and I dislike it more than Dunkirk, I will put out a public service announcement
There
just
you
for
go.
you guys. Okay.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, just don't include it, and then we'll count the top 10. Or whatever.
Good God.
Hey, Dunkirk got 1 point. You should be happy for that.
There you
But
go.
a movie you didn't see got 2.
Right? Wow, the power of the unknown. You gotta love
Hey,
it.
I didn't complain about anybody else's list here, okay?
Yeah, but we watched them all.
It's not my fault they want to charge like $3.99 for a rental, okay?
I didn't know we could do that. Fine, I'm gonna make Tenet last and then The Following.
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, if
yeah,
we're going
that's
there.
how your list fills, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, screw Tenet. I hate it
Well,
now.
anyway,
All right,
before
keep
I
going.
was interrupted here,
Yeah.
let me go back. Okay, so we
There it is.
Dunkirk following Memento. Okay, then we got Inception, then we got Tenet, and now we go into movies I think are enjoyable. Oppenheimer, well, like I said, very informational. I gave it a thumbs up. Then The Prestige, Interstellar. Now I get into movies I actually quite like. Interstellar, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises. No shockers there. Of course, the superhero
Wow,
ones will be at the
Insomnia was
top.
that high, huh?
Oh yeah, I love Insomnia.
have
It's a thriller
Inter-
story. I like
Inception
police
under
procedural
Insomnia?
kind of movie. What?
Did you have Inception under Insomnia?
Yeah.
Way under. No, I have Insomnia on my number.
Or I mean, under
4.
what'd you put it under? What's
It
right
was
under it?
I
under
put Inception under Tenet.
Tenet. He had it
What?
under Tenet.
I have seen Tenet more times. I will say that I got the 4K of Tenet. Like I said, I don't hate Tenet. You guys
What?
really hated Tenet. What? Hey, I did not say nothing about anybody else's list. Okay, we're supposed to respect everybody's list here.
I
Okay,
know, but we were all crapping on that movie.
like I said, I don't like any of the bottom movies. Dunkirk, well, following a Memento, let's just throw those out. Okay, so Dunkirk, Inception, Tenet. Like I don't care to.
you didn't even see Memento, right?
No, I haven't seen Memento.
Fucking Christ,
Well,
man.
Dunkirk,
They're trying to charge it. I'm sorry, it's too expensive. I don't want to go
Oh
buy
my
a physical
God, no.
media release.
You
that
put
I'm not gonna
movies you
rewatch
didn't
a
even
whole
see above
bunch of times.
Dunkirk.
Yeah, 2 of them, Tim.
Change
That's
my
the,
list. Maybe
that's the
number
power
one.
of Dunkirk.
Oh,
Jesus,
and you know
man.
the funny thing is, when I was looking up these movies to stream, all I could find was like Dunkirk multiple places.
Yeah.
I'm like, they want me to see Dunkirk again. I'm like, I won't do it though.
You should
know
watch
what's
it again.
sad
I
is-
liked it more the second time.
What's sad is I saw Dunkirk for free and loved it. I had to pay for Tenet, and it was horrible. You know,
Yeah.
if it comes in a box set, that's how I'll end up buying Tenet. But I'm not going to seek
You
it
know what's
out.
crazy? I'm not even saying anything on on like your opinions. I don't care that you don't like Dunkirk, but
Okay,
if you saw the
we'll
other
throw
two
it at the
movies,
bottom. Okay, we'll move it then. We'll move it. We'll put following at the bottom, then Memento. Okay. At least I saw the trailer to Memento.
There
I
you
like the
go.
trailer.
I
The
mean, come on,
trailer was
Tim.
good.
Give him some credit.
Yeah,
Trailer.
it's probably a good trailer, and I
Like
would probably
twice.
like it as much as Dunkirk.
There's a trailer 1 and trailer 2.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, anyway, I didn't know my list was so controversial.
Yeah, it's
I didn't know
great.
this was all
Look,
surprising.
we gotta keep the
I
audience.
love
in
yelling
the
at you about it.
heat.
Okay. Well, anyway, well, was there any comments? Did anybody say anything on that?
On
Let's
what?
see.
Our rankings?
KB's laughing, so that's
Now,
good.
now, what
Oh
did
yeah,
this
JB's
ranking,
laughing.
what did this ranking do for you, Mike? Did you do an overall thing and see where everything now lies using?
Oh yeah.
Service?
So now we got the Nolan Collectors Club scores. So what I did for
Okay.
this was I added everybody's scores and then just ranked them off, from lowest to highest. So I mean, you guys can guess what's at the bottom, right? Following got 7 points. That was pretty low on everybody's list. Makes sense.
Tenet
Then-
better be next.
Tenet's next with 11 points. And then I was shocked by this because I love this one, but you guys not as much. Insomnia with 21 points.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the other ones for me.
And then Memento, 22
Oh,
points, so just
shame,
right above that.
shame.
Yeah.
Memento's amazing.
This one was sad for me, but that's okay. The Dark Knight Rises, 24.
You'll be okay.
At least it wasn't bottom. I'll take it.
You're okay, buddy.
Inception's 25.
Okay. All right.
Dunkirk was 28. You guys had it super high up there.
Solid, right in the middle.
Batman Begins, 31. That was pretty high. Interstellar had 34. Really good number there.
Pretty good.
Oppenheimer. Well, actually, sorry. Let me move this. Sorry. Oppenheimer's before Interstellar. Oppenheimer's 32.
Oh.
Then Interstellar's 34. There we go.
where are we in like
Number
place?
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to. Sorry, I'm going too fast.
Like
All right,
the
so
score more.
Halloween was bottom
That's
at 12,
12.
right?
What?
11.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, so Dunkirk was 6. Oh, there we go. So Batman Begins was 5.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense? Okay, yeah. Batman Begins was number 5. So we're in top 5. Oppenheimer was number 4. Right? 32
That's
points.
Uh,
The next one was tied. So we actually have 2 tied ones. So Interstellar got 34. Also, The Prestige got 34.
oh wow.
That's
So those-
crazy for Prestige. Not
Prestige is so good. It's so
I know
good.
Derek gave it all those points. But it was pretty high on my list too, and I think everybody else had it like mid at least mid to
Yeah.
high.
I had it. What, third or fourth or something? It was pretty
Yeah.
high.
Yeah, that's very
I
high.
guess I had it the lowest. I had it like 6th.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's still pretty high. So, hey,
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that too. But yeah,
it's because it's awesome. Before you got
and then
too big-
everybody knows number 1. This was going to be obvious. The Dark Knight. There you go. 38.
You know what? That's
He was number
actually,
2. I'll take that.
that's
Nice.
actually a really good group ranking.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. Like given that we all have those opinions, it's
Yeah,
still
with the exception of
the right thing's
Inception
pretty
being pathetically low for reasons. It's pretty good.
for which one?
Wait, what? Inception?
For reasons.
It is weird.
So
that
Inception's a little low for reasons, but otherwise,
it's-
Ah, six halfway point,
Okay, I'll
mid
take
range.
That's not too bad.
That's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
because
think
I like Interstellar more than Inception, so I'm fine with that.
honestly,
Yeah,
if
I love
watch
Interstellar.
Interstellar again, I might like it more than Inception.
That was so good. Like the heart in that film is not what I was expecting.
Mhm.
and I put Batman Begins pretty low, and Dark Knight was still somewhere middle for me. So those being up high means they were like super high for you guys, because I was lowest for both of those.
Yeah, I had it at number 4. Yeah, for Dark Knight.
KB says Tim is gonna have a brain aneurysm.
It's the math. He can't do the math. Yeah.
He just knows how to do it. He can't do the math.
All right. So next question, which I think is actually a really fun, interesting question, because I know everybody's gonna have a wildly different answer here. What do you want to see from Nolan next? Like, what do you want him to do in terms of, is there a certain genre you want him to get into? Is there a certain franchise you want him to take over? Do you want to see a sequel to one of his movies? Or just what story concept would you like to see him tackle? He's tackled a lot of time. Do you want more time stuff? Do you want something different? Have you guys thought about this question, or should I start this one off?
I have a thought.
All right.
So having just seen, again, I'm also trying to get into Scorsese's filmography. That's been a big hole in my viewing. And I saw King of Comedy about 3 weeks ago, and that was so good. Like that was Jerry Lewis was unbelievable in that film. So I would like to see Chris do something on a smaller scale like that. So it's sort of like a real sort of creepy kind of thing like that. Because I mean, he's doing the sci-fi, he's doing the time, he's done the superheroes. I don't really need to see him repeat a genre or do a sequel to anything. Like I don't need a sequel to The Prestige or any of that jazz. But something along the lines of like a King of Comedy twisty thing. I mean, maybe you can say Insomnia is already like that, but not really. So I guess that's something.
A character drama, like a character,
something like that. Yeah. But with a little attempt at comedy, because I don't think while his films might have some levity in them, he hasn't really infused any comedy.
He doesn't seem like a funny guy when you watch him.
No, he doesn't. He may not be good.
He's like, I love film and practical effects.
Comedy's not movie.
So, you might already guess, but I want basically a finish off on a World War II trilogy. So I want another World War II movie from him, something that means something to him. Dunkirk, the story meant something to him. Oppenheimer meant something to him. Find something else from World War II that means something to you that you want to tell the story, and I want to see that. I want a trilogy of World War II stuff.
So that's your trilogy. That's cool.
All right.
Oppen trilogy.
And Derek, you said just a character drama.
Oh no, I was just going on.
He was just defining what I was saying.
Yeah, I was like thinking I want to see him because he does different genres so well. Like he does the superhero genre. He does the one about like magic and fantasy. He does the space or sci-fi. I mean, a lot of them are sci-fi, but he does one about dreams. He does one about outer space. That's like pretty accurate. World War II stuff, and he does do a little character movie with the following. And Tenet, time travel, but it sucks. It'd be cool to see him do something like a horror movie.
Yeah,
interesting to see. Like what would Christopher Nolan do as a horror movie would be really cool. I'm gonna do two if you don't mind.
Yeah,
because I know what you're gonna say. Or do a western. What would a Christopher Nolan western be like? I would just want to see that. I don't care how bad it is. It could be a time travel western. I don't care. Just bring me Back to the Future 3 would be great. But yeah, a Christopher Nolan western or horror movie would just be like, that's so weird. I want to see it right now. Like it doesn't matter what the story is. I need to see it.
All right. I have just so many thoughts right now. Well, you just mentioned Back to the Future, right, Derek?
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
I'm somebody that likes remakes. I know people don't want to see a remake to Back to the Future, but if you heard Nolan was to do a Back to the Future remake, maybe people would be a little bit more easy on that because Nolan's played around so much with time. And you could go, different places now. We could go back to the 80s, 90s. We haven't done that before, right, with Back to the Future? So that would be a really cool idea. That just popped into my head. I would also go, different kind of genre. Horror would have been cool. Comedy would have been cool. What about a musical? I like musicals. Why don't they do a musical? That would be fun. He's always great with music.
Oh, Tim likes this. Look at that. He's like,
what I'm thinking though is like you guys touched on. He's a deadly serious person.
Yeah.
And all of his movies that have any type of comedy, it's very light levity, very light. I'm wondering what the hell would a comedy or a musical from him be like? Like he is super serious. I can't.
I don't think he could write it. He would have to direct it.
I just thought of one. So, and not necessarily like who would be in it, but if he's going to do a comedy, do a buddy cop movie. A Christopher Nolan buddy cop. So it'd be a little bit, you get a little bit sort of that darker, maybe Michael Mann feel to it, but then it's your chance to bring in maybe one of the two actors is good with comedy or something like Ryan Reynolds or something. And that'd be interesting.
So you get Christian Bale
and Ryan Reynolds.
Or it could turn out to be
I'd watch that.
like Kevin Smith with Cop Out, and it lacks everything of what made Kevin Smith Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
You think it would lack everything that makes?
I can't picture. He doesn't have a funny bone in his body. Like I can't picture him honestly directing comedy.
Yeah.
He needs to do it then. It's the only thing He needs to win his Best Director Oscar, and then he needs to make
Yeah.
a comedy, so it doesn't matter anymore.
I would watch it out of fascination, but
Yeah.
I mean, he has 12 movies in, and none of those 12 movies have shown even a slight hint
No.
of comedy.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah,
why I feel like if it's buddy cop, you can have
I'm
the
telling you.
action violence because he's got the action stuff down pat.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'd love to see like Bad Boys. You know, like Bad Boys is really hardcore action, but it's got the stars you pick are the ones that bring the comedy.
I can see that a little bit more if it's still focused more in the action, because like Tom Hardy drops the little one-liners in Inception. So I suppose, yeah, if comedy is the secondary
Yeah.
genre,
And
I'm
Tom
telling
would be
you.
good as one of the guys.
yeah,
I'm
You'd
telling
have-
you, Back to the
John
Future
David
remake.
Washington and Tom Hardy in
Oh,
a
You
Men
get
in
that
Black.
comedy in there. Well, you get that comedy in there second to the time travel stuff. It could work, you know.
Yeah. You do a
But
Men in Black
also-
remake. That'd be up his sleeve a little bit.
But also, of course, I do want him to return to the Dark Knight franchise. Make that Joseph Gordon-Levitt Nightwing movie. The DC stuff's going nowhere anyway, so just
Right.
get rid of it. Do some Nolan movie. Why not?
Yeah. I would like him to do Man of Steel instead of Zack Snyder.
Oh,
That
that would have been great. Yeah,
might have been
I would've-
better.
yeah, because didn't he was heavily involved with Man of Steel, right? With
He
producing
produced
and whatnot?
Producing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And like help write the story. I want to say
Oh
Did his
man, that
brother?
would have
he was
I
like
thought-
he was the godfather of that movie, is what they called him. Like when they were
Yeah.
making it.
I
Yeah.
think he outright said he's done with superhero movies as a director.
that was
Yeah, he
Oh,
does.
Mike is crushed.
no, that was
So was
the-
Christian Bale, and he still did Thor 4, and then he was mad when it came out because it sucked.
Like
It
I knew I was
really-
done for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see something different from Nolan because I feel like we've gotten so much of the time stuff, you know, playing around with the editing and all that stuff. I know that's what he's known for, but something a little different, something outside his wheelhouse, I would definitely be intrigued by. And also, you know what? I think he's a really good writer. I actually prefer his writing over directing. Kind of like how I prefer John Hughes writing to John Hughes directing. I would like to see him pair up with a different director and see how that would work. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Taking Nolan's
Oh.
script, give a different director, mash that together. That'd be something different.
Eternal Melancholy brought up, what if Nolan remade Time Bandit?
Yeah. I was just reading.
Oh,
that.
there you go.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah,
So you
I-
still get time, but comedy and sci-fi.
I dig that one.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Yeah, there you go.
or like Brazil, like pretty much any Terry Gilliam movie, like 12 Monkeys, like a Christopher Nolan 12 Monkeys could.
Dude, that'd be sick, actually.
Yeah.
I would go for that.
As long
Yeah,
as they
he
have
can
Brad
do
Pitt.
remakes. He can do remake. We saw it with Insomnia. He can do some remakes out
They
there.
made that stupid show out of it, I guess. So might as well make a movie.
Yeah, see, that would be cool. We'll see. I don't even think we've heard any plans from Nolan next, right? Like any next movie idea from him.
I mean, he was doing Oppenheimer for
Yeah.
at least a year or two before he finally came out.
Yeah, and he usually takes a while to get out a movie, right? It's like usually about 3 years now.
At least, yeah.
And from what I understand, WB is trying to heavily court him back. Whether he takes that or not, I
Yeah.
don't know. But I kind of hope not.
Yeah,
To be
screw
honest.
him.
All right. Well, there we go, everybody. I think we covered everything Nolan wise. Went through everything. Oh my goodness, that was a lot.
What a whirlwind, people.
I know.
I do want to watch all of these again now, though, after talking about them.
I do
know.
not.
Almost even Tenet.
No, put it away, Derek.
I
Yeah.
do want to watch Dunkirk again now, though.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
watched it. Interstellar, though. I haven't opened that. I haven't watched that and opened it.
Yeah.
I need
I
to give
do need
Mem-
to see Memento though, and
Yeah.
I forgot to grab it. I'm like, oh yeah, I have the steelbook. I didn't show it off when I was counting them down.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I want to see Memento again and Insomnia. I feel like I barely remember.
Yeah,
Insomnia.
I need to see Insomnia again for sure. Memento's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
All right, so we'll kind of close out then and let everybody know what's coming up next or whatever you'd like as well. So Derek, you got the next Collectors Club
Yeah,
night, right?
start- Yeah, Tamari on my channel, Convicted Cinephile. I have a different name every day, so I have to remind myself who I am. We're doing our best movie poster tournament. So it's the 32 best movie posters of all time, according to the internet things I researched and compiled. And the one that got the most mentions on as many lists as I found are in this list. So some of them might be like, really, that one? But hey, I'm not the judge. I am, but I try to be. So the intro to the show will be 10 that almost made it in, and you'll be angry of what they are, like I am. So make sure you catch it right when it starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night on Convicted Cinephile Channel.
All right. And then Tim, you're after that.
Yeah, and Derek kept the list very factual based off other stuff, so just keep that in mind.
They're all good. It's just some of them.
It's all like legit awesome posters. I'm pumped for that. I love talking posters. Anyways, on Friday, we're going to be doing our recommendation stream. We all recommended movies to each other. We're going to actually talk about them. I actually even rewatched my recommendation to Huck.
I saw that today too.
I'm so pumped to talk about it.
I'll wait.
They're going to say you watched Things twice in a row, but that wasn't.
I still have to watch Things once.
I still have to watch yours too. I might watch it after this.
That's the only one I have left. I'm going to get it in, obviously. But yeah, that'll be Friday. I'm going to make the thumbnail probably tomorrow morning, get that up on YouTube. But yeah, it's Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, Huck's turn.
Yeah, look, with me, it's more like since we're talking about time and Chris Nolan, go back in time and catch up and watch our Collectors Club from Sunday, my sci-fi trivia that all these guys, I had the biggest group of people ever on my channel was Monday night's trivia. That was super fun. And then Mike stopped by on Tuesday for the morning mug, and we just talked all kinds of fun stuff. So go catch up. That's all I got to say.
And then Saturday night will be the recap show on my channel. We're just going to go over some of the best moments out of all the Collectors Club week, things that made us laugh, things that surprised us, things that made us come to tears. It's going to be a wild time, so it's going to be super fun.
And all that happened tonight.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you again, everybody, for being here. Everybody's channel links are in the description below, so make sure you check them out. Click the subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when all the other Collectors Club stuff pops up. And yeah, thanks, audience, for just being here, having a good time, talking some Nolan movies. But yeah, everybody have a good one out there.
Yeah, and thanks, Tiana. Appreciate it with the comment. Nice.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, yes. Awesome live, guys.
Look at Awesome Live, and she's like, a fun week. We got to do it again. Already we have a fan. We got to do it again. This is a lot.
Encore.
Somebody else has to take the first three, though.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
It worked out that way that time.
Yeah.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye, everyone.